the weekend's favorite tracks. Or visit Amazon.com/SamuraOriginsCoffee. That's Amazon.com/SamuraOriginsCoffee.
Ooh, mushrooms. Oh, no.
Perfecting your sourdough recipe, that's an art. But finding the right multivitamin, that's easy. Garden of Life Organic Women's Once Daily Multivitamin is made from over 30 certified organic fruits, vegetables, and herbs, all in one daily tablet.
Make a run for
It is packed with nutrients sourced from real whole foods. No artificial flavors, sweeteners, or preservatives. Now that's perfection. Start your wellness journey today with Garden of Life. You're probably multitasking right now while you're listening to this.
When I have an item out? Do I have to press a button?
We're all about getting more done.
I don't understand.
That's why you need SAS Via, the fastest way from a billion points of data to a point of view. For more productive data and AI, it's SAS Via. Visit SAS.com/Via to learn more. That's SAS.com/Via.
The JBL Tour Pro 3 earbuds are packed with innovation. Touchscreen smart charging case for one-touch control, instant EQ customization,
how do I get
adaptive
someone up
noise
once I knock him down?
Plus, the one-of-a-kind audio transmitter which can plug and play with everything, from game consoles to in-flight entertainment.
That head until you feel the Holy Spirit. Can you feel it now, buddy? Oh, can you feel it? Oh, can you feel it?
With the American Express Platinum Card, you can access over $3,500 in annual value with benefits and eligible purchases across travel, entertainment, and more. There's nothing like Platinum. Learn more at AmericanExpress.com/explore-platinum. Enrollment requirements, monthly, and other limits and terms apply.
Oh, do you feel it? Rise, Batty. Welcome.
I think it would be important to begin collecting resources for guns. Yes, let God call for guns. Lots of them.
Yes. Father Billy, do you wish to return? Battle has taken root on the bridge.
Battle has taken root? Oh, yeah, let's do it.
Battle. Blood has been spilled. Jump on the back. Batty and all who at the northern bridge.
This is a double horse?
I come
Follow
bearing
us to
gifts.
the northern bridge.
Well,
another wonderful face. Wow.
Oh!
Hello, Father Billy.
Wait a minute. Now I see something that makes me a little upset. I see an iron fang in front of your name.
That was fucking
now,
so
now
funny.
what now? Hold on.
Well, the opposite side of Will is so much. Is so fun.
Tell me what's going on.
Okay.
Because we've always been working together.
I was a part of the church. I actually have a bag
spread propaganda.
in the base. Okay.
Yep.
I had to step away to help some people, but now you're back. I'm more than welcome to leave Iron Man and join the church.
I'm out there having revelations.
What happened down here?
And you sliding behind my back with some iron fangs.
I have your gun.
I thought you was one of our most faithful.
I had to help out an old friend.
You know,
I am.
I thought it would have been symbolic
right
to
now.
let.
You tell me, I'll do it. Do you know what I've been
I thought it would have been symbolic to let Uncle Billy strike me down, smite me down with his stone to give him a feeling of
so
using
many
a position
bees
on power. But
so I can
think it's okay.
The church
I think we got this under control. After seeing what I saw, I saw weakness. I don't know about y'all, but I saw weakness.
Now I am unfamiliar with
these.
I told you.
I got you. Okay,
I saw weakness in what I
throw
felt
them right.
Yep.
And then you run
strong.
away.
In fact, I look strong.
All right.
I look
like
and
it's going to spawn a bunch of bees.
Hell, I'm the son of fucking God. I'm the son of fucking God.
Suit,
yeah,
you
are.
You as much.
I'm perfect.
Right.
Yeah, you are.
I'm fucking humble and perfect.
They will fuck some shit up. If you throw a bunch of those
exactly.
Hell me, I'm perfect
maybe when
and
someone's
humble.
having a meeting, perhaps. You know,
you are perfect, humble, and humble.
People pass away.
You're so humble. You are so humble, and you are so perfect. Oh, Father.
When I look at myself in the mirror, I hail myself. I worship myself. I'm fucking perfect.
I can join the team.
We have this on lock.
Right now, I'll
I'm locked in.
Yeah,
I don't know
you
about
are.
y'all, but I'm fucking locked in.
Oh shit! I didn't mean to do that.
Do the play for Father Seer.
What did you do?
Make you a play for him. Yes. Show him. Show him the idea that we had. We have an idea, Father Seer, that'll bring in some big scrap bucks to.
All right, that was my mistake.
Big scrap bucks.
That was my mistake.
Big scrap bucks.
Tell him about it.
Classic mistake.
Okay.
Okay, so
that was Chekhov's bees.
Don't
all right.
Yep. And we came up Morgana.
Now you know how to throw them. Now you know how to throw them.
Yeah, that's right.
But it sounds like they're coming over.
They do that.
I agree. Yeah.
Mickey,
Yeah, they follow you.
Yeah.
For a little bit. Yeah.
What would the scenario
You let me know when you want to
Okay.
join. You do your thing. We got this is
Winnie
day
the
one of
Pooh
my
gets
operation.
I'll
Whenever
do
you
now.
want.
He's now
I've been waiting.
a skin.
I've been
have any
Skinny the Pooh.
Chrissy
by the way?
in the
Winnie the
DMs.
Pooh without
They go
fur.
down in the
He's
DMs.
raw.
I do.
Also that.
Oh, you really are very beefy.
He's been on a honey detox, so he's not addicted to honey anymore, but he's addicted to crack. So not only is he shaved,
My
Winnie the
house
Pooh,
is in the
but
shape
now he's
of a
addicted to
giant
crack.
bee.
And
All
he's
right,
out there on
I've
the
got
streets.
bees cooking
And
24/7.
he's out there just doing.
Getting me their little
Basically, what he's
nucleuses
doing
so I can make
is
big
he be
grenades.
giving dome out on the corner of 7-Eleven.
This doesn't heal
Trying
very
to get
much,
whatever he
does
can get
it?
his hands
Alright,
on.
I'll join
$20
you.
is $20. That's what skinny.
No,
Skinny
I
the
mean
Pooh
here, take
says.
the corn. The corn will do
You know,
better.
he's addicted to
I
crack.
make pies with them.
Okay.
Giving dome on the corner of 7-Eleven. $20 is $20. And Winnie the Pooh, this is one of the
Hey.
little.
All right, let's
musical,
ride to that
numbers,
bridge
right?
and throw
He's
some
like,
Here,
bees.
fill yourself up.
Sideways
I'll
Winnie
take
the
that.
Pooh.
Oh,
I'm not
yeah.
gay, but
Let me
$20
grab
is
some
$20.
peanuts.
I'm willing to sign.
Can I get some bees?
You know, and that's
Father
kind of
Billy.
the song of that.
Elle has been very loyal. Elle
Wait,
has
the
been
bees
very
are
loyal.
here.
It's a tongue-in-cheek musical.
Oh, Father
just
Billy,
throw
have you
Hank
seen the
Hill
room
up
I've
there,
set up
too,
for
for
you?
just, like,
You must see it.
Yes,
We
the
throw
room
old
is
Hank Hill
beautiful.
in there.
Bees are gonna
And we
kill your
throw
horse.
sushi chef
Have you
Oh,
seen
God,
grown-up
get the
Billy
horses out of there.
You need to see.
Billy in there as well. Bobby,
Bees are here.
Bobby, grown-up Bobby in there.
If you turn this up, watch this.
Okay.
Oh.
If you can flick this
Oh.
switch.
Winnie the Pooh.
Oh!
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
This is exactly what I wanted. Let's go get them.
Good. Okay. I have some handcuffs as well for when we get them as well.
Who's
Let's
the
go.
team leader?
Who you think, girl?
Father Billy is.
Oh shit! All right,
I
invite
got
me.
you. Join up. Oh, hell yeah. We got Sister L back. Hell yeah. Are we fighting?
I'm almost there.
Kind of got our asses handed to
going?
us, I'm not gonna lie.
What? I thought they were poor.
We killed a bunch of them.
I'll finna bus.
No, we killed them. We killed all of them.
I went down
Now, that was
almost
incredible. I think we
immediately.
need to
It was
take
a
that. We
really
need to elaborate
poor
on that.
performance from my part.
We need to make that bigger.
So you kind of got your ass
They caught
kicked
me
and
under the
everybody else
bridge.
did well.
I got my ass handed to me, Father Billy. That is true. I was speaking broadly.
Oh, Billy, here's your gun.
Okay, I got
Oh,
it.
thank you.
Hey, you know what? We can make things much bigger.
Wobbles
we can do
was recently
Viagra,
spotted
but on crack.
at the church.
We can take Viagra and all of us just
Get a
walk around
message
hard
of
at anything, you know what I'm
violence
saying?
towards us.
Walking
We
to the
have a lot of
wall
work to
and
do
just
before
making
we win
glory
them all.
holes everywhere, you know what I'm saying on
got a
that?
zip
What do you
Oh,
think, Father Thea?
come see what we have for him. Look at this. I'm
Hell
gonna show you
yeah.
how we're gonna win them all.
Outfit ready?
Can I get
Ready?
an amen?
Look at this.
Amen.
Hey man!
That's what I'm talking about. I think we give a little show. I
Yeah,
think we
give
give a
it.
little demonstration.
Take a look
on
at
it,
that.
promotion of that.
That's how we're
That's
gonna
what
win them all.
Haunted Mansion
Look at
tonight.
this.
Go ahead and
Flick the button.
Yeah, we're gonna shock his nutsack.
And we can also use the theater for when Wobbles
Somebody
wants
hit
to
me.
do like performances for the
Oh, yeah. Oh, my. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Again.
Yeah, exactly.
Again.
Exactly.
That's what.
Oh,
Fuck! I'm perfect.
that's
All
good.
him, all fathers.
Yeah, you are.
I'm a genius for that idea.
This was such a good idea.
So,
This was
does he
such a
sit-
good
does he
idea.
sit on this part right there.
now
He
sit
sits
down,
on
now
this,
sit
right?
I
down.
love that.
On this
genius
thing
now.
right here,
I
right?
don't believe I can sit
You know
with
what?
the
You and Winnie the
handcuffs
Pooh
on.
like that?
It was your idea, Father Seer.
Yeah.
Now,
You know,
yes,
God,
yes.
he incepted that
Hit me,
idea and
Brother
went out.
Ray.
Tomorrow you're gonna spread the
With
word
these.
about an
I mean,
amazing
it's
state. Incredible. Man with amazing voice.
Okay, all right, okay.
Utilize him like a puppet. And everybody else.
One more time, Greg. Everyone step
No, my
back.
father,
Oh,
now
yeah.
you know.
Step back.
I can't stop. Last one. One more. Oh yeah.
That's why I'm so perfect.
He just curled up in death.
Oh, man.
Oh, wait, what's
He folded in half.
Just shriveled up like Father Sear's tiny penis.
Yeah, make fun of his genitals.
You know what they say, incest is
Man, I
best
hate
sex.
when you do that.
Park-wise?
So who else are we putting in the chair?
That was a
Well,
joke. That was a joke, by the way.
wobbles.
I've never done
Wobble.
that. Nor have I ever engaged in that activity at all.
Okay.
Someone is munching.
We're gonna make him sing
That's
while
me.
he's in there.
I ate about 100
Yeah, he was
corns.
testing us for the church.
I was
I think we
testing.
passed.
I was testing.
Yes.
I was
Okay.
testing. So this is what I'm going to
That
do.
was beautiful.
I'm going to.
Hey, I got a
think we need
question.
to,
I know there's
help
the
them
other
build a
church.
little thing. We build a theater as well.
I know
I'm
there's
gonna
the
be
other
in
church,
town
but
for
there are kingdoms too,
for
correct?
a long night. So I'm going to
Yes.
be around.
Yeah, they're in
Alright, so if
disarray
y'all
a
need
bit.
help
I have
with that, let me know. Or
yesterday.
even
I
if you
did.
just
I
wanna
did
come
set
by
up a
and
meeting between
compliment
you
me
and the
'cause I'm
king
so-
of Golden Crest.
I am the image of
Share the
God.
island with us.
Which
All
is
right.
King is
perfection.
foolish.
Yes.
He wishes.
Feel
he
free to
wishes
do that
meet
as well.
with you and is interested in an alliance
Yeah,
against
I
the
mean,
Northern Church.
I'm homeless
and
right
Iron
now.
Bank.
Technically,
How far
I'm not
away
sure
are
where you
they?
stand
now.
on such things. Not far, not far. We could go there
Oh,
presently.
also,
We
perhaps
could build you a
you
house,
should
Father Seer.
send a
Do you need more
picture
wood?
of
Oh,
the
they-
foolish
I
things
actually
there.
got a
hear
little
that?
shack up
They
there in front
want
of
a
church,
courier.
and
They want a courier
I got a little
on the bridge.
I got a little.
Listen, they
you know,
meet
Let me
on
know.
our
A
time.
little
We
midget
just
You are
free
really
so
model
love them
humble.
right now.
You even
Fuck
Yeah.
them.
And you know the
so
thing.
close.
God, yeah, thank
You're
you.
home.
Yeah, God guided my hands, and there was nothing like it. It was
I
just
would
incredible.
like
It
to
was
report
beautiful.
I did visit King Foolish last
I'm
night.
God.
That
And
sounds beautiful.
I'm God.
has been
Yeah,
telling
you
Praise the
are.
blood god.
as we farm here.
I'm the
which I
closest
know
thing to God that
Praise
walks this land.
Taxation.
He did provide me with an inventory
Praise all Father
of
Seer.
wood as
Basically
a
the blood god.
Praise
his,
all
you
Father
know,
Seer.
I am basically
grace
him.
with the church,
The
so
most
I do
humble.
think he'll be,
Yes, you are.
be a good ally.
And you know, I think it's funny because Billy tried to take it all away. You know, you see that jealousy.
And so he
When
is
we was down there
expecting
talking to him,
to
you
meet
could
with
hear
me.
the jealousy in his voice.
Yeah.
I could hear it. I could hear he was scared and he was shaking.
He can't
All right,
live a day
listen.
without fucking
Greetings, gamers, and welcome to the 195th live stream from the Misfit Gamer Studios. I'm your host, Vortex, and this is D&D Discussions. On today's episode, we have a brand new playable race called the Fabrifolk, coming from Dezmar Sama. I'm really curious because I only caught one word in the description, and I'm already curious because I know that I made a joke about it being like the little planet, like beanbag people, and then I caught part of the description, and I'm kind of happy I wasn't far off. But I'm really curious to see how this works. So join us today as we figure out what exactly the Fabrifolk are. What's going on, everybody? Sorry about the desktop audio. I am currently trying to do my own Twitch drops. So
Twitch drops?
I have some randos in the background.
BT Dubs, you were very correct, Soul. We could easily have streamed that for 4 hours last weekend, and we did.
Yeah.
I got all my drops in our little stream. It was wonderful.
And we still haven't playtested an entire round yet, but that's okay. That's just mainly because of manual everything.
And because we had a lot of discussion going throughout, a lot of pauses, a lot of stops, a lot of going over stuff. But that's the nature of the beast, to be honest.
I mean, when you're in an alpha test, like that's when you're in the alpha build, like everything's constantly changing and moving.
Yep.
Yes, that was another person's stream. Actually, technically two people's stream because I actually had two of them up in the background. One of them's now been turned off, but I've also muted it. What's going on? How you doing, Codex? You got the link. Awesome. I don't remember what link that was.
The link we're talking about? Who got a link?
Codex. Apparently, Oh, they got the link to us. Oh, that must have been a submission for you then. Codex must have gotten a link
very cool. Very cool.
Okay.
Very cool. Very
I
cool.
just misread that, so my bad.
What number are we again? 190?
We're at 195 today.
195.
Dezmar is here for once. Let's go.
Let's get it.
Speaking of which, so I don't know. I might do a poll in Discord for this as we get closer. I mean, we're only 5 weeks away. But I have been considering retiring the episode count. It was a lot of fun to do for the longest time, especially because we were doing it for Mondays and Fridays because D&D Discussions was basically like what the entire thing was originally titled. But because we don't do a lot of like the deep dives as much anymore because we have other things that we're working on, I don't know
because so many of the stuff that we do doesn't count as a numbered episode, doesn't count as a D&D discussion. It's like OSR, you're not qualifying as D&D discussion.
Exactly.
A lot of the development stuff that we do doesn't really run that. So.
While I wouldn't mind continuing, it's just one of those, does it still hold a valid place? Like, is it still relevant to do the intro? Or can we move on from that and just have it as a fond memory? Because there are some places out there, we've talked about this, where their intros have never changed, right?
Sure.
And they'll even do that, like, after 5 or 10 years, they'll do, like, an intro, like, montage. And I think that's kind of one of the things I always thought about, where it was just kind of really be interesting to see how that intro evolved. But I just don't know if it's relevant because of how infrequent D&D discussions actually are now. And it's mainly the homebrew review and not really us discussing things as much. So I don't know. I'm on the fence about it. I wouldn't mind continuing, but I just don't know if it's worth the effort anymore. And I don't know if it's actually enjoyable, or is it just something that I've just gotten so used to doing that it's more something for me than anybody else.
Lightweight, yes, but and maybe you don't have to theoretically announce it when you do the intro, but for me, at least on the back end, with a lot of the stuff that I got going on, like, I'm probably going to keep them going. Just because, number one, it helps me to stay organized, helps me to be able to identify specifically what's going on. I can tell at a glance whether one episode was before or after another one,
Yeah.
Just little stuff like that. So,
definitely makes sense for the reviews to keep them numbered, but yeah, so moving forward, I don't know about that. I don't know. We have 5 weeks to think about it, but closer to the 200th D&D Discussions episode, we will probably put out a post or a poll and see what the community thinks. They want the intro, because the other thing too is, I mean, for the longest time there wasn't anybody that would even show up as that early for the intro, And now I think we usually only have like 2 people that might even see it on a regular basis.
Sure.
So I don't know how many people care. I even started leaving those intros out of the YouTube videos because those are more the live intro, right? Like
Sure,
you were watching
there was a
live.
specific intro for YouTube that we do when we're doing those.
Exactly.
But
so yeah,
okay.
I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what the community thinks, and we'll get their feedback because I do like having the community's feedback as often as we can get it. It's not often, but it is nice when we can do it.
Big facts.
Let's see. So updates. We have a community stream this weekend coming up.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do.
Saturday. Has the community made a decision? Let's find out.
I did see the other day when I peeked in there that there was 8 votes compared to the 4 that we had when we first looked.
There are currently 9 votes.
9 votes, okay.
That actually might be one of the best turnouts for a community stream that we've seen so far.
It's not an even number, so that's good. Although they are spread across against multiple things, so there could still theoretically be ties.
I mean, granted, there are multiple votes allowed, so I don't know if that's 9 individuals.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
So, yeah, but still a decent amount. So let's find out what's winning. Of course, this community never knows what it wants. Okay, so we have 2 votes for Lore and Pour, 2 votes for Critical Cocktails, 1 vote for an AMA, 2 votes for Pop Culture Builds, 1 vote for Subletting Subclasses, 1 vote for Gaming with Chat, and no votes for Tavern Tastings or Tavern Tangents.
You see, it's interesting. The first 2 that had 2 votes was Lore and Pour
and Critical Cocktails.
And both beverage oriented.
Yeah.
Right? So I feel like that's now the question is, are the 2 people that voted for both of those things the same person?
Let's see. So Marty and Hecate for Lore and Pour, Hecate and Foxer for Critical Cocktails.
Okay, so that's 3 people for
Foxer for
beverages.
AMA. Hecate and Soul for Pop Culture Build. Why am I not surprised?
Of course.
Des wanted Subletting Subclasses.
Oh,
and
love
Foxer
it,
for Gaming with Chat. All right. So yeah, so that vote's still available in the Discord. If y'all want to participate in that vote, it is under the Community Streams channel. So go check that out. And yeah, let us know what you want to see this Saturday. Oh wow, it says there's less than a minute left. I thought I had put that on longer.
Is there any way to extend it?
I can't extend it. I can only repost it. But
rude.
So it looks like it's going to be a tie. Oh, actually, you know what I could do is since 3 are tied, I'll repost with just those 3. Oh, hey, look at that. It literally just posted. So let me repost with those, and we'll just let it go for the rest of the weekend, or until the weekend. Because we basically have until Saturday. All right, great poll.
We'll have an answer for you guys by Friday, okay?
And with this one, I can make it 1 vote per person, so we're more likely to get an answer.
Okay. One more vote, everybody. 1 more vote.
All right, so we have... Lore and Pour. Cocktails, or let's see. If we have a pop culture build, do we want to select who it is? Do we have an idea yet? I think Johnny 5 was our last idea. So
don't we have a Discord channel with some ideas that are littered in there somewhere?
We probably do. Yeah, I just didn't know if we wanted to do one of those or like
I mean, if you've got an idea, if it's something that's like tickling your brain and you want to get to it,
I'll think about it. We'll see what the votes come out to over the next couple of days. But let's see.
I mean, well,
we'll give them until Thursday. So we'll give 3 days for this next one. No additional ones, and we'll find out. We'll either use one that was submitted in the suggestions, or if I come up with one that's that feels extra spicy.
So I will say I saw a video the other day that got me kind of hyped because she is one of my favorite Marvel characters because there's lots of like Marvel stuff going on. But Wanda Maximoff, and I don't think we've done like a full-on magic user yet. We've done Alucard, we've done Shazam. We did Johnny 5, but we haven't done like a
the hardest part of
class.
Yeah, the hardest part I feel about like a wizard is I feel like the hardest part for a wizard is it's so much more dependent upon like their spell list, at least in 5th edition, than it is about like
your actual class powers.
Yeah, and it's just it just feels like it would be like not difficult. I mean, obviously difficult, but yeah, it would just be one of those like I feel that it would be the least impressive overall, because it's like you could get there, but most of the stuff that a magic user needs is what they can do with magic, not like think about Shazam. Can do magic-ish things,
sure.
But a lot of it was how they got the magic and how it represents. For someone like Wanda, I feel like a lot of it is like we'll be looking for spells that match what Scarlet Witch can do, and then we'll just be trying to shoehorn in
like how do you get ability. Yeah.
Like obviously you give her flight, which wouldn't be a spell. You'd probably give her like hover as like an innate ability or something, right? Without because that you can do little things like that, but eventually most of her things are going to be like illusionary spells, damage spells, Eldritch Blast, but maybe like Eldritch Blast, but she can increase the damage. So I feel like it would be a lot more of that, like spell manipulation, getting boosts and things. But maybe I'm wrong. You're right. We have not done one, so I don't know.
Well,
anyway, fair enough. The new poll is in Discord now, everyone, under the community streams. So I've just posted the brand new poll for this Saturday. You have 3 days to make your vote. It's either going to be lore and poor, critical cocktails, or pop culture builds. Only 1 vote per person this time. That way we can get it nailed down.
Indeed.
And right now we have the 2 vote. We have 3 votes for pop culture builds. So I think it might be nailed down.
Dang! Out the gate, 3 votes.
Yeah, I do not think that the critical cocktails are gonna win it.
Well, they want to see more builds. Although I will say, that's one of the things that we do best is our builds.
I think so too.
Like it's one of our lightweight staples. So I'm here for it.
Speaking of pop culture builds, just glancing through, saw you had one for Alucard. Yes, we did do Alucard.
Definitely check that one out.
But yes, we did. We have done Shazam, Alucard, Johnny 5. Was that it? Just the 3?
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Johnny 5 is fun.
Johnny 5 was fun. And it was our first not level 20 build.
That is true. Mm-hmm. I like that we decided not to force ourselves to complete the build to level 20.
Yeah.
Because the idea being that who are we to decide, because we're only taking what we know and putting it into what D&D makes sense, like how you represent that in D&D. Who are we to say what Johnny 5 would be after that? That's the whole point of the character taking it, or the player taking it from there, is you know what Johnny 5 should feel like, and that's what we gave you. But what happens next shouldn't be on us to decide.
It's fully up to you guys.
So I really like that if the character doesn't feel like a level 20, we leave it alone and let people decide. Because that's the idea, right? If you were this character exactly as they are, but you had a chance to continue.
Right.
Like imagine if we said Shazam was only a level 10. I mean, ridiculous as that sounds. If we had capped everything, we got everything done, but gave it a level 10. Imagine being able to have that mindset of you could be Shazam, but imagine you're only halfway there. That's kind of what I feel like that's how we should be presenting it, right?
Interesting.
Here's something for you, but it's what you know and love. But if it has potential to become more, have fun.
Okay.
Oh, Codex did some Castlevania themed content. 4 monsters. Interesting. Okay.
Love me some Castlevania.
Lisa, Dracula, Alucard, and Trevor. 2 group patrons. Interesting. Based on the Belmont family and the Holy Order. I got that.
Dude, I would love me some Belmont builds.
Oh, magical whips. Can you submit, even if you don't submit them in the submissions channel for review, can you at least post your magical whips in a homebrewing? I would love to take a look at those. I agree. I absolutely agree. Whips in general are severely lacking in most TTRPGs.
100%.
And magical whips even more so. So I will absolutely dive into that if you post that in any of those. Optimus Prime would be an interesting one, Des. Do an Optimus Prime for a pop culture build. Would definitely be a much upgraded version of Johnny 5.
Because here's the deal. Optimus Prime is like kaiju size. He's no joke. He's not just like a humanoid. He's more than just a Warforged. He's like a Statue of Liberty construct.
I mean maybe not version. I mean, if he could, if you take the OG, he's as big as a semi, so maybe a 2-story house.
Sure. Yeah,
you would say he's huge, but a huge shape-shifting creature. Actually, that is interesting. He is a huge shape-shifting Warforged, which we have not seen. Like the idea of mix. I mean, has anybody actually? Let me know, and maybe we need to look this up someday. Has anyone made a Warforged druid? I'm sure it's out there. Because what does a Warforged druid do when they wild shape? That's Beast Wars, right? That's Transformers Beast Wars.
Yeah, like wait.
That's all I can. Did you watch that? Like,
oh yeah, I loved.
But like it was that. It's that concept to me. Is a Warforged druid is just the Optimus Prime, but from Beast Wars.
Very interesting.
That would actually work. But I'm curious if that's a common build or if anyone's actually tried to do that and made it popular. I mean, someone's done it.
Yeah.
But is there a popular version? Optimus Primal? Yes.
Wild.
I think it was called Beast Wars. Yeah, I think it was called Beast Wars. But yeah, there was
Beast Wars was the shit back in the day.
That was such a crazy, interesting show. That was back when like 3D was supposed to take over cartoons, and then they realized how shitty it looked, and they were like, "No, let's just go back to drawing."
It's fine. So just while I have you, Codex, what I got from you is something called Fortune's Hand Patron, and I'm guessing this is a Warlock subclass. Let me know if that sounds correct. Because I love me some patron action.
Really? Beast Wars is actually held up as one of the best? I honestly thought it didn't, because I think it only ran for like a year or two. I swear it didn't run that long. And I kind of thought it had like a bad take for most people. Like,
I mean, maybe early on, but I feel like it was one of those things like...
I assumed it was just one of those wayside ones that people kind of forgot about and just was like, kind of like some of like the Star Wars things, but they're like, oh yeah, there was that cartoon, but no one really.
Yeah, I feel like it kind of. I mean, people don't talk about it a lot now anymore, but even something like DuckTales and Tailspin, like those are like old school bangers that they still hit.
But they don't have like the franchise like Transformers does, right? Because Beast Wars was kind of a.
Beyblades.
I mean, I kind of assumed that it would be considered non-canon, mainly just because it went against. I don't want to say against, but it definitely didn't. Stay with a lot of the standard canon of Transformers, right?
Sure.
Just because it almost took place.
Was it supposed to be in the same universe?
Well, and that's the thing. It was kind of a weird time because I remember that whole thing was about they were transporting, like the whole premise of it was them transporting, at least from what I remember, like dormant, neutral Autobots or whatever they were, their original version, what they were called before they took sides. And at one point they were like, chased, I think, by Megatron. They got shot down. They released them all into space, crash landed on this planet, scanned around, found animals, which is how that
they turned into worked. That. Yeah.
And then I guess the whole thing was whenever one of the pods that they had, like the skate pods crashed, they had to go get to it to decide, to like flip.
Yeah.
Because there was that whole premise, but I'm just like, I don't remember how that was supposed to canonically fit with the canon of the homeworld. Where it took place on their homeworld, and then the canon of when it took place on Earth, which was like several iterations.
Sure.
And then how that all takes place, because I know the new ones are more of reboots. So I don't really consider those.
I didn't even know there were new ones, to be honest. Like,
the live actions. I consider like the live actions to be more of a reboot. So when we look at like the whole chronologically, I just don't understand where Beast Wars fit in between when they were doing the things on their home planet and where the war kind of started. Where it ended up on Earth, and then where did Beast Wars kind of happen in the middle? Because I don't believe that was, unless I'm missing that was Earth, and that was just long before us. Like I don't know if that's how they.
That could be interesting.
I don't know if that was this premise because I always thought it wasn't Earth, but maybe that was just because again I being a child, I just assumed that it was it was somewhere else.
It looks like aliens. There's random robots over there. It can't be Earth.
So yeah, it's just one of those weird things. I never quite understood like where it was supposed to fit. So I kind of always assumed it wasn't really a chronologically significant.
Sure.
I more assumed that it was just an attempt to do a 3D version, and it just was like, oh, this sucks, because 3D wasn't really happening right there.
We didn't have the technology yet.
Let's see.
That's dumb.
Wait, before it came out, there was some fan screaming, truck, not monkey. But then that should come out, it was good. See, I didn't have a problem. I thought it was really cool, the concept that they had no form and scanned whatever they could and found the most likely thing to hide under. Like, I liked that concept.
To blend into, yep.
And then you had, of course, the other, the Decepticons, where their whole biggest thing was, what are the predators? Just give me the biggest, baddest, the strongest, and I want to be those.
Sure.
So, I loved that concept. I didn't care that he wasn't a truck. It was just more of a, how did it eventually evolve to becoming a truck? Like,
right? Like, why?
Where's the evolution? Where is the monkey truck? Okay, if you can't show me a monkey turning into a truck, then obviously
it's bullcrap.
Oh boy, I didn't think we'd go there. Let's see. Oh, okay, so Beast Wars is more canon to the first gen. Gotcha. Optimus Primal finds Optimus Prime's body. Oh, so they're two different individuals. Or two different, I don't know, what are they considered? Like, I don't think they ever were called AI. I think they were just, because they were given the spark. They were given, like, because they are living machines, so.
Yeah, why does that give me cyborg vibes? Like this weird all-spark thing that, like,
Oh, interesting. So it's a futuristic one. Wow. So Beast Wars is in the future from the 80s version that we know. So it's after what takes place on Earth.
Really?
And they're descendants. So the Maximals and Predacons are descendants of the Autobots and Decepticons.
I did not know that. I was thinking kind of like you, like it was like an
it was that
offshoot.
how they got to Earth or whatever. Interesting. Fascinating. I have not seen that show in like so long, and it's just weird that I barely remember any. Like, I probably said 90% of what I remember of the show
already. Yeah,
like that's about it. Like, that's absolutely fascinating that it was futuristic. That would be a fun weekend, like deep dive. Just to do that rabbit hole.
Sure.
Sometimes it's fun to do those like fandom rabbit holes where you just try to figure out how did everything connect. Interesting. I'm curious how it shows. I would be interested to see at least one episode and see how it holds up. I'm sure it might hold up better than the 80s cartoons in terms of writing, but yeah, I'm curious how overall like that show holds up in terms of being able to be watchable.
Sure.
Because there are some old school shows you can still watch all the way through.
Some of them are kind of hard.
And then you just, you get like 5 minutes into one, and you're like, well, that was a fun trip down memory lane. I will never say, I don't want to admit I watched that show.
I just want to remember that it was good and not try to relive it. Whatever, it's fine.
All right. Well, we have a review. It's not going to be a long one. It doesn't look like. The playable races don't seem to ever take that long.
Yeah, a lot of the times, depending upon, like sometimes they'll give me like a full rich history. Sometimes they'll have a bunch of subclasses or sub races and extra stuff. But a lot of the times, playable races themselves, they're not too meaty. Just a couple of bits of information, hopefully a little bit of lore letting you know where they came from, and then what can you do?
Yeah.
You usually got like 2 or 3 good abilities.
Yeah. Well,
do it, lady.
Do it, lady. So also, one thing that I also need to poll y'all in the Discord for is when it comes to edited content, I'm trying to make decisions for our YouTube channel because I either need to pay for really cheap editing or I need to get back into doing just bare bones editing where I cut out just a lot of the crap, some of the, like the intro stuff, some of the things that we, will like in this episode talking about the community stream would probably be mostly cut out, but that whole rant on Beast Wars would probably be also cut out because that's nice. live stream, but watching a YouTube video, this video would be more about the review.
Sure.
So cutting stuff like that out wouldn't be terrible. But the thing is, like, I know most of you show up for the live stream, so I don't know how much interest you'll have. I know some of you go back on the VODs if you missed your review, so that's nice. But I don't know how much an edited version of a video would benefit our current community. But we do want to grow. We want to figure out what to do with the YouTube channel because it's just. I'm not good at making content for TikTok and then cross-promoting it onto YouTube because a lot of the times I get the watermark because I'm doing it in TikTok and not doing it out of my phone because I don't have a good video editor. But I digress. We need to do something with it. I want to do more with the main channel, but I don't know, both visually and content-wise, how well our content, our live streams, translate to like YouTube video quality. So if there are other content creators or things that y'all have been self-aware enough to know like why you like certain content creators, what type of content you like, whether it be like the visuals that you see, whether it be how they edit things, any of that kind of information would be really beneficial to us and really we'd be very grateful for it because as of right now, I don't know where to take the YouTube channel, but we want to do something. We want to start to expand into it. And I kind of need a direction that will give me some hope for benefit, right? Because right now I just don't know what to do to stay motivated. So if y'all know anything, if you have any ideas, post them in our Discord. We'd really appreciate it. It would really help us out in going that next step for our YouTube channel and for the growth. Because the live streams are doing well, the TikTok channel is doing well, but we're just really not utilizing YouTube the way we should be. And that's going to be our next big, opportunity to blow up. Because right now, no one's going to find, Twitch is not a place to grow.
Sure.
So we really need to get a lot of our stuff over there. I think edited shorts would be really, really great for us, especially with a lot of the way that our content can be boiled down into shorts. But until we can
start running those consistently.
To afford that, I just, I want to know how long our videos should be, what they should look like, and which of our content is going to translate the best to YouTube.
Would it be valuable for, say, some of our viewers to, send us, examples of, other streamers of, just stuff that they enjoy watching and, maybe tell us, pieces that they enjoy about it or whatever?
I want more of the details than, it's one thing if you have a particular person that you like, you can post their name and we'll go look for them.
Sure.
We don't need to be posting just shit tons of videos of other people's content.
Yeah.
But again, if you have a particular, YouTuber that you do like that kind of has similar presentation to us, then yeah, we can go look into them. But outside of that, yeah, we're just looking for more of, in y'all's experience, because you are our community, between our live stream and the content that you consume on YouTube, what would make our content better presentable in those cases, if that makes sense? Yeah.
Okay.
Des has a question for you.
For me? All right, let me take a look at this. It says, before we get into the review, how many more entries of mine do you guys have? Okay, let's take a super quick gander. Which tab am I on? There we go. All right, for Des. Clear. I don't like how Google Sheets does their filtering. I want to find a better way to do that. But okay, so looks like we have your Chameleon Folk, your what? SKONGSRA, Skongrsa, something like that. And we have the Otterkin, as well as a background, which I might bring up a little bit sooner, called the Anarchist. Outside of that, we have a couple of other things that we've been holding on to till we can figure out the best way to present them. You had a a full class with a subclass as well as a subclass of paladin, but they all kind of like came together to build something very specific. And I'm pretty sure when we first talked about it, and when I get closer to these things, I'm going to be hitting you up in the Discord about that. I'm pretty sure when you originally sent it to us, it was one of those things where it was kind of lore specific, right? And so I want to make sure if we should culminate all that together and try and do it as
the wedding one. Yeah.
Yes. There was Loved Ones last night, Oath of the Groomsmen, and the Bride, as well as Shining Princess. So, you know, although One Last Night is just a spell, and I'm assuming it's a spell for one of those classes. So, it'll be good stuff. It'll be good stuff when we get there.
Those are always just very, you know, we're learning those are more difficult to review, but they're still fun. They're definitely more interesting.
Sure. No, they're way cool. And something else that I still have on my docket that I know we're gonna take some time to get to. Who was it that was asking us about their either it was their setting or their whole TTRPG that they wanted to represent? So that I've been, and I want to sit down with you at some point to figure out like how to lay that out.
I think the problem with that one is we're for sure gonna have to look at ahead of time, because I don't think we're gonna have to understand more about it before we can.
Trying to hash that all out on stream
So I think that's what we're gonna have to do is actually sit down, review it beforehand, and then try our best to like compartmentalize it so when we're reviewing it, we know this is how much we need to read before we comment. That's really, I think, the biggest thing is how do we break it up and then how long.
Because that's definitely happened before where we're reading something and it's like, okay, but what is this like referred to in regards to or something like that. And like when it comes to like what do you call it? If I'm like going through the player's handbook and that same situation would occur, I can just flip through to like wherever it's referenced. Okay, this is what you're talking about, and I can go back and fully understand what's happening, you know? So I get that to a certain point.
So I don't know. That one's just more, again, these are things we weren't anticipating when we first started reviews, so these are outside of our wheelhouse, outside of our specialty, but interesting enough that I want to give it a try. But the more we do things that aren't directly related to something that someone can pick up, I do see that we struggle more often to either give good critical feedback or because I mean everything that we say is opinionated, but it's difficult when we're trying to look at it from that prism of how does the average person feel and how does this fit into a regular game, and then when we're reading something where it's like, well, it's hard to say whether or not this is good or not because it's part of a game that it's supposed to fit into. So
and that's the thing,
it could very well fit, or it may not. But I don't have that basis, so it's like I can only give so much.
Based on the average person, how would it fit into a regular game? I think that's the question that is important distinction, because just like you said, a lot of these things aren't fitting into a regular game. Because I would say we're average person, right? We're an example of an average D&D player. You know, we've got different levels of experience, we've got different levels of perspective on how exactly things work, and so. But at the same time, we fundamentally understand like what the game's about, pacing, you know, how things work, what feels good, what doesn't. And so if we're looking at whatever's being brought to us, and it's like, if we get to the point where we're just like, I don't know how this fits, how that works. I mean, lightweight, that's the answer. You know, so.
And that's the other thing too, is I guess, you know, that it is giving the knee-jerk reaction of if you were to present this to two people and trying to sell us on it, these are the things that we would say about it and you know what we think. But again, it's difficult because I just find that a lot more of the time, like, it's not that people don't defend what they've done or explain what they've done, but a lot more of the times it's less about here's what I was thinking and why, and more about here's these things that make it make sense that we don't have. And that's where I find it more difficult, because it's like, oh, okay, well, with that, that would make more sense, but
we don't have it.
I can't see that. So I want to do more, you know, I want to give it a good try, but I also don't want to like I don't want to get people's hopes up that will be a long-term good thing, like for us to do, just because it may just come down to, you know, it's more time to go over it than there is value in what we have to say about it.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Like, you know, if it takes us 4 hours at the end of the day, we're like, I don't really know what was going on here. Not was that a valuable time of our stream, but like, was that even valuable to the viewer when we, you know, we just weren't able to really like get there. But I don't know. These are the things that we have to think about moving forward.
Accurate.
Dezmar, you do have access to the leaderboard. So if you go over to the schedule, at the bottom of the schedule, there is a link to the leaderboard. And you'll have access to that as well.
You can see everything we got on there so far. You will not see future things, but you will see everything that we have so far up to today's review.
Should have the person who, you should have the author, the item, the link to the video, and the score, right?
Yep.
So yeah, go check that out in the Discord under the schedule.
Yes,
schedule
indeed.
Channel. Oh yeah, and shout out to Cosmic because it was their birthday recently.
That's right. Just what was it? Past Friday or Saturday, something like that.
All right, so that was it for the updates because yeah, we just have this community stream and the poll is up and going. 4 votes, 1 vote for the Warren 4. Hecate's still trying to get us.
Somebody's getting in there.
All right. Well, let's get down to business for today because we have a brand new playable race called the Fabrifolk. Now, obviously, my mind went to creatures made of fabric, and then I went to like little, like, you know, animated, like puppets was my first thought. Like, like, you know, Little Big Planet. So that was where my mind was going, and now I'm really trying to be. Now I'm really interested to see where we're gonna go with it. Because this first sentence really makes it stand out as something I don't think either of us have seen before.
Oh, okay. Love that. Love that.
Hey, you know what? For you and for you alone, here's a cheap block. Cheapest block you'll ever get.
Wild.
And defeat the Huns. I don't know where we were. I don't know what that was in response to.
Oh, you said let's get down to business, and I started singing.
Okay, that's right. I didn't equate it. That was in response to your singing.
Yep.
All right, so the Fabrifolk from Dezmar, a new playable race. Let's find out what's going on with this, starting as always with the description. Perhaps you started as a flying carpet or an enchanted set of clothes. Now you stand on your own 2 feet, literally. Be it from magical happenstance or just the accumulation of charms and casting over time, sentience has been gifted to you. The standard shape of a mortal, sapient. Why? Okay. The standard shape of a mortal, sapient being seemed most obvious. 2 legs, 2 arms, hands, feet, and a head. Your appearance is that of dozens of different fabrics bound around a person. The choice of these fabrics are up to the player and the DM. This is fascinating. It immediately gives me like, because in High Point and in older editions, there were unique situations that could happen where magic can become permanent by mistake or by intent. And the first thing that goes into my head is a childhood movie memory of Bedknobs and Broomsticks and her final spell that raises everything. And I'm just imagining, because that's exactly what this was. Like that's exactly what depicted is that these things just came to life. And now I'm just imagining just like the magic was so strong that as they all all the clothes eventually like dissipated, just one was left over and ran away.
Wild.
That's awesome though. I like this. Interesting. Okay, so you are a bundle clothes. So I really want, immediately what I want is resistance to bludgeoning. But I want you to be vulnerable to slashing. And piercing would be standard because you can pierce a clothes and it's not that bad. Slash it and it becomes
torn.
But I also then want mending to be able to heal you. But mending can already heal a construct though, and this is a construct because I do see that. So I think mending can already do that on constructs.
I don't think you can cast mending on a Warforged and it heal them.
It should. In this case though, I'd like to see that. I would not mind because that I feel is a good balance. Is mending for healing,
but think about
and it would be small amounts of healing. It wouldn't be like you just go up. But I mean, it would be like the lowest normal, like lay on hands, right? It would be the equivalent of a normal person's healing.
Yes, I will say if you make any healing spell a cantrip, I feel like it's important to put a limit on how many times you can receive healing from that per day.
Totally, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, you can only get like this like a couple times per day. I'm totally fine with that. But these are just like the ideas. Because I mean, if you're totally made out of fabric, let's go. Let's lean all the way into this and make that happen. Man, I don't know if we're gonna see this, but because you said specifically you could have started out as a flying carpet or enchanted pieces of clothes. Because imagine like there's this wizard who like is constantly casting mage hand. They're just like, you know what? I'm bored. I'm alone, and I'm tired of like running into the broom. I'm tired of it. I go to do the dishes and there's a fucking broom in my way. All right, you know what? Mage hands. I'm just gonna cast thousands of mage hands, and then I'm gonna get like 20 of them. All of you, line up. Now put this coat on. Now move in tandem. Go. Yes, and it's just literally like 20 mage hands filling a coat. But 2 of them are holding the broom, but the rest of them are just there in line, like holding each other like this, so the coat looks like a human. And this is where this eventually got to. Is just he just kept going more and more like, no, it's too lumpy. I gotta just enchant the clothes. Now, and then it just got to the point to where they just kept going with it. But I would love now to see that you get to choose your type of speed. Like that would be interesting to be able to have like a choice, because if we're a flying carpet, I wouldn't mind giving you some sort of like minor fly speed or just to hover. Like
or just hover, yeah.
And so you don't have to worry about like difficult terrain, things of that sort. Sure. Would be really interesting. Even giving these things glide, because if they're just fabric, just being able to, like, if you're falling, you can just open yourself up.
Sure.
And be your own parachute. Yeah, exactly. Fantasia vibes. This is, yes, exactly what I'm talking about here. So there's a lot that can be done with this. I think we can already say it's going to get the inspiration point, because I can already see a lot going on with a playable, because I've done this before where living clothes are a thing, but didn't think about doing it to this extent of a playable. That's cool.
That is very cool.
All right, let's see what this thing can do. Ability scores, we can choose one of the following. Choose any 2 and +1, or choose 3+1s. Pretty standard.
3+1s?
So you get a +2 or +1, or choose 3 different.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah.
And your size is medium. Totally makes sense. Type creature, you are a construct.
Sweet.
So far, so good. Speed of 35, I do not mind it. You're lighter. You're basically just clothes. I don't mind that. See, this would be one of those opportunities where I wouldn't even mind saying you can have a walking speed of 40, a ground speed of 40, or you can have the ability to hover and not be affected by ground terrain, but your speed is like 30.
You know what I wouldn't mind? You were talking about being able to choose your speed type.
Mm-hmm.
I think it would be cool if you could choose your size. Because think about because there's plenty of small races. There's even tiny races. Imagine if you could choose between medium to tiny, any size, and you would have like different, I
got it. What if
movements based upon that?
This is dumb for 5th edition. This would probably only work in High Point. But what if that had a built-in ability where, like, every time you leveled up, you could add an article of clothing. And so, like, every 5 levels, every 5 articles, you grow a size.
Oh, interesting.
And then the same thing, though, is it's almost equating to, like, every time you grow a size, you get some more health. But if you lose too much health, like, kind of like what we've talked about before, where if you lose so much percentage of health, you'll actually start to, like if you lose, 50%, you actually lose 10% of your cap as well.
Oh, so kind of like swarms.
So they could, like, literally peel you apart, but you could also integrate that into the size to where if you lose too much of your cap, you would actually start to shrink in size because you have less and less clothes.
And that would be very interesting. Imagine somebody who...
You could sacrifice HP to lose size. You could be like, hey, we need someone small. Let me just... Like, you would literally be removing clothes, but you'd also be removing HP. You'd have all your other stats, but your HP and size could literally be capped and then like designed.
Very interesting.
Okay, this is cool. This is so cool. Hey, we have a glide feature. When you fall at least 10 feet above the ground, you can use your reaction to rearrange the fabrics that make your form and glide horizontally a number of feet equal to your walking speed, and you will take 0 damage from the fall. You determine the direction of the glide. Love it. Absolutely fucking love it. What I wanted to see. We also have tassel form. You have resistance to poison damage and immunity to disease, and you have advantage on saving those against being paralyzed or poisoned. You don't need to eat, drink, or breathe. Totally fine with those.
Sweet. I feel like that's a lightweight standard for constructs, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, most of that sounds pretty standard for what we've seen before. Swift Unraveling, you have advantage on checks relating to performing and maintaining grapple. Performing and maintaining grapple, as well as escaping a grapple. That's good.
I love that.
I 100% am okay with that. You know what? I want to give this a new ability. I want to give this an ability that doesn't exist in D&D. I want to give it a grapple reverse. Where you can choose to initiate a grapple, right?
Mm-hmm.
You can choose to escape a grapple.
Mm-hmm.
Or when grapple, you can choose to reverse the grapple. So it's a slightly harder DC than escaping, but if you do, your target now becomes grappled. Or your grappler. That is so missing in any form. Like, wrestlers can do that. Like, why not? Why not be able to have a third option for certain classes that when grappled, if you can either choose, like, let's say you have a DC 13 to escape the grapple, but you have a DC 15 to reverse it, or a DC 16 to reverse it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So you basically, you're like, oh, I'm cut, and then you just do the whole thing where you're like, aha, I have you.
Traditionally, grappling is a contested check, not a DC check. So in this scenario, would we say, like, the person contesting you would have like advantage, or would they get like a +5 to their
something
check
like
or something like that?
Yeah, something like that. I just think, like, in this particular case, I love this concept of having a advantage on doing grapple or getting out. But then I'm thinking, like, this thing can basically, kind of like the T-1000, it can just morph around you, like, or think of like how you see Doctor Strange's cloak in the movies, right? Where it just kind of like, I'm thinking now, where you grab it and all of a sudden it goes, and now it's behind you grabbing you. But then I think, like, there should be fighters or monks that could learn this feat. There should be a feat or a subclass ability that allows someone to reverse a grapple, because that is not at all.
I think that'd be just a dope addition to the grappler feat in and of itself. I don't know how powerful the grappler feat is, but I think that would be a cool benefit.
I am so interested in that, and I want this to have it specifically, because this seems to be the way that you would introduce an ability like that, with something that can literally deform and reform. That sounds like the time that you would want to introduce this kind of a new ability out there. So it might be a lot for a race, but I still think it's a cool ass ability. I wouldn't even mind that.
So when it says you have advantage on performing and maintaining, so if I want to grapple you, I have advantage to do that. If
they try to escape, you'd have advantage.
Is it? I'm trying to remember if escaping is also a contested check when it comes to grappling. I feel like it is. It's just constantly contesting the opponent every single time.
Right.
So So I feel like that's fair.
Yeah.
Because if they're trying to get out, I just have advantage on whatever check, whether it's dexterity based or strength based.
Right. So grapple in 2024 is a save. If you hit with an unarmed strike, you can you get to grapple instead of
Wait, that's damage. Just standard?
Yeah, so when you hit with an unarmed strike, you can grapple instead of do damage. And it's a strength saving throw, DC 8 plus your strength modifier. So again, this thing makes even more sense to be able to introduce in 2024, introduce a reverse grapple, like a reverse hold. I still think that is even more so better if there's a save on it. So
I thought contested checks were cool, because that's like the only place that contested checks actually occur like that.
The new grapple feat lets you do both damage and do the grapple with no penalty to movement. So yeah, I think this would be cool. I think we could easily make a wrestler feat, called the reverse or whatever, or just, like the wrestler's grapple or something. But I really think that would be a dope addition to the 2024 handbook. I mean, even maybe just put it in the APHB for us. But the idea to be able to reverse a grapple, I think that makes the most sense. And if anything, I'm putting that in high point. There are going to be, because you know me and my proficiencies, you can basically have a proficiency in anything that you want as long as you want to train in it. That right there, for anybody, a monk or a wrestler, that right there is going to be a proficiency that they can have. Just grapple reverse. Makes perfect sense.
Fire.
Cool.
Fire. Yeah, dude. I'm stoked for that. I might actually, yeah, let me throw that in.
All right, so Weaved Restoration. If the mending spell is cast on you, you can spend a hit die, roll it, and regain a number of hit points equal to your roll plus your Constitution modifier. Minimum.
You know what?
In addition, due to the life within you, you benefit from several spells that preserve life, but that normally don't affect constructs. Cure wounds, heal wounds, mass cure wounds, mass healing word, and spare the dying.
That's a really cool way to limit it. Like, I love that you're spending, because you already have a resource of hit dice. It's limited, and it's a great way to say, hey, this is not spammable into infinity, but you do get a benefit from this cantrip where other people wouldn't.
Yeah.
Like, I think...
And you were talking about limiting it because it's a cantrip.
That's exactly what I mean.
Because you have to spend a hit die.
Like,
that's your limit.
That's exactly what I'm saying. Like, that's exactly the point, is being able to use a personal resource so it does scale with your ability. So, like, when you get into higher levels, casting that cantrip is still going to be valuable. But that's just cool shit. I love that. I love that.
Yeah. Oh, this is so cool. And then author's notes. While we have while a construct, as per the design intent of construct playable races, the Fabrifolk benefit from resting, healing magic, and medicine skill the same as other races.
Okay. Dope.
Man, there's so much that you can do with this too. Because, like, again, for someone like me in High Point, you become a rogue. I will absolutely give you advantage on stealth, because you could literally just become a pile of fucking clothes. Unless you're in the middle of somewhere that would just be, you know, the most obvious weird thing. Like, literally, if you could just be like, hey, I'm a pile of clothes that I look like a human, but I'm going to just step into the shadow, but instead of hide, I'm just going to...
Sure.
And literally just become... And then I would give you advantage on that. Like, let's say you wanted to hide in a barrel and it's not and it's too big or it's too small to fit a normal human. Now, granted, you can't change your size, but you can become a folded stack of clothes. Like, that could be there is so much more that you could do with this. I still think the idea of damage options, right? Resistance to bludgeoning and invulnerability to slashing, I think would be a great balance for this character. Now, some people might find that would be too much, especially early on, so it's an optional role. Like, I would put in here optional.
I mean, I'll say there are plenty of races that give you resistances out the gate.
Oh wait, who did second?
I think that just happened. That was Cart. Oh, second, yeah.
Oh, no one's done second yet.
Cart just didn't want second. He knew he wasn't the second person.
Y'all are so nice to each other.
Oh, interesting. So
I like. Oh wait, so no, I like the two. Because it still has settings where it wouldn't be probable advantage, like if you're in a pristine castle. Exactly, right? Like, if the guard's coming down, you know, like the red carpet to the king's throne room, he's gonna notice a giant pile of thieves' clothes that are just sitting there and probably don't smell that good. But if you're in an alleyway, you're in the back of a bar, you're in your hotel, you're in your inn room, and you hear the guards, you know, pounding on the door. Oh, he's not in here. Everyone leave. You know, if they don't have detect life, things like that would absolutely ruin it, right?
It would be
you're
really...
not invisible, you're just...
Imagine, I'm imagining if this character is a warlock class and they took the invocation where you can cast disguise self as a cantrip. You can walk around looking like a human all day long. Everybody thinks you're human. And so then when you do drop into a pile of clothes, because think about this, if I know you're a Fabrifolk and I know that you are a pile of clothes, and I see a pile of clothes just chilling there, then for sure, I'm going to be like, you might be a pile. I might investigate that. But if you're just genuinely not, but if I had no idea you were potentially a Fabrifolk, if I thought you were a human and all I see is a pile of clothes on the floor, then I'm going to be very, very confused. And it's going to, like, playing that up the whole time, I feel like, because it's not instinctual, right? If I see you as a Fabrifolk and then I see a pile of clothes on the floor, I might investigate, especially if I'm looking for you. But if you're just trying to hide and they have no idea who's around the corner, if you're looking at a pile of clothes, you're not going to think twice about it.
So a couple of things. This is great. So disguise self. I'm a suit of armor now. I like that one. Okay, so Cart says I'd love to see a goose chase into a clothing shop. So here's the funny part. This is just great because if you also take like the magician feat, right? You could theoretically put like some birds up your sleeves. You could take a goose with you or a duck. Because imagine you're running from somebody. You could do this trick where you look like a pile of clothes suddenly. But if you have animals on you, you could just be running and be like, duck! And it looks like a duck just flew out of your clothes and kept on going.
So I just wild shaped into a duck, and now I'm a duck
then
now.
They would chase the duck, and you're just a pile of clothes. There are so many ways that you could pull this off to make it look interesting.
Yo, I want a bard warlock multi-class. So where you're really, really good at performance, you have the disguise self on you all the time, but you play the character as though they're a druid.
Oh like, my god! If you're a bard, dude, if you're a bard, so you know, like in normal plays or normal like things where they'll have like they'll have like the clothing where it's like instantly reversible, so it looks like they rip it off, but all they're doing is like turning it around. So imagine that if you had like multiple layers of clothes that all make you up. Halfway through the performance, you could just be like whoosh, and then you're literally your clothes heal.
You know what I would do?
Learning something different.
I would be totally cool with this as a DM because there is an uncommon magic item, a super random, cheap, uncommon magic item that basically says you can make this look like any type of clothes. So you can like just basically like, and it just turns into a different set of clothes, right? There's a cape that does a similar thing, but like your clothes can just be whatever you want. If you were a Fabrifolk, I would totally let you, like, if you had that, if you bought those pieces of clothes, I would totally let you, like, lightweight integrate that into your body.
Absolutely.
Just like a Warforged can integrate armor into their body, I would totally say the clothes that the fabric clothes that you purchase, you could integrate into your body like that. Yeah. And I might even say, like, say you were a wizard that had, like, this special set of robes, right? I would lightweight say it's something that can't be removed from you against your will.
Just said something akin to where if you offer things like magical tattoos in your realm, why can't you get magical embroidery?
Oh, yeah.
So why couldn't you get a spell, like literally stitched into your body just like a tattoo?
Yo, how hard would it be to turn spell paper into thread?
Not difficult at all. It depends on usually like that, and there's other options. There's actually the spell robe. Remember we saw that from Cosmo.
Yeah.
They had the entire robe made out of spell sheets. So that could totally be there.
That's wild.
Oh yeah, that's just that there's so much that you can do with this. Yeah, hands down 10 out of 10. Like this is now like I've done living clothing and possessed clothing and things of that sort. Never playable, but this is happening. Like absolutely, there is so much more that can be done with this. The only thing I'm really gonna change is I'm gonna
get out of here.
Get out of here. I'm probably gonna do a couple more variations on it for various fly speeds, basically various origins. So different walk speeds, different fly speeds, and I'll probably add in a couple extra proficiencies that can come along with this. Kind of like with the bending class.
Yeah.
So very similar to that, but no, I'm absolutely gonna use this. This is such a good idea, and it doesn't hurt too much in terms of any kind of story. I mean, it really just leads so much more into RP than it really would with combat. I mean, I'm definitely going to add in the non-magical bludgeoning and slashing resistance and vulnerability, because that just is what the physics says of High Point says. But other than that, yeah, this is a really good idea. And there's also like, Bro, you add this to your realm. Imagine this is your explanation for mummies. Think about that. Like if this is a race, imagine this race was discovered, but they weren't the dead. It wasn't people that got embalmed and mummified. What if those tombs sealed these creatures in because they were terrified of creatures of living material? So what if mummies aren't dead people that got embalmed? What if the ancients locked these creatures away, and when we excavated them, we thought that, oh look, it's a, the curse, and then the curse was actually saying, do not open this sarcophagus. It's literally a tomb, because if you don't encase them in anything but solid rock, they'll get their, like,
you know what I think would be
there's so much lore you could do.
Is on top of that, give them a lightweight engulf feature where they could mummify somebody, where they could wrap themselves fully around another creature and like mummify them.
That would be part of their grapple. Like, if that particular version is when they grapple, if they grapple you for too many turns in a row, they begin to like dry you. Oh, that would be it. Like, if you're grappled for more than 5 turns or more than 5 consecutive turns, you start to succumb to what's that spell? The one that sucks all your moisture out. Blight?
Possibly?
Is it Blight? There's a spell that specifically saps the creature of moisture, and it basically mummifies you. Not instantly, but I think that would be a thing. Like, after that, that's what starts to happen. Is every round
it's draining moisture and vitality from it. Yeah, it's Blight.
So imagine that's what happens. Is if you're grappled for longer than 5 rounds, you begin to feel the effects of Blight.
See, I would do something kind of akin to, like, you know how when you're like turning into stone or something like that, it's something that slowly happens over time. I would love to see, like, I would put it on the character. Like, you have to you can't just hold the grapple, you have to intentionally try and consume them. So I would do something very similar where you would have to make consecutively successful grapple checks. And once you've made those grapple checks, then you can fully engulf them, and then that process starts. Because I totally think that is something that, like, because I imagine, what is it? Like, you've seen it so many times where there's like, something like crawling up somebody, like if you remember in the Matrix when he touches the mirror for the first time.
Exactly.
Like, but that's what I imagine, but it's not, it's like a slow process, and the person can fight it.
That's what I'm saying, like, yeah, with the grapple would be perfect. I'm loving what's going on in the comments. I love the idea that they would actually also be vulnerable to bite attacks from moth creatures. That's their biggest number one enemy is moths. But think about it, like, any creature that consumes fabric would definitely be an issue for these people, these things. So I would allow things like, rats, like if you could literally make a swarm of moths, that could definitely, like, imagine how, mummies are terrified of cats. These things would just be terrified of moths. Anything that eats fabric that is just their mortal enemy.
Sure. Wild.
Or the mothkin rings. Exactly. There you go. No, fantastic. Thank you so much, Des. This is such a good build.
This is top tier. I freaking love it.
It's short, it's sweet, it's to the point.
But it's so beautifully done. It's not just short. It
gives me just enough lore to understand what I need to do to take it and use it, but it leaves me no questions that I can't answer. Because that's what I mean by when I talk about rich lore, you don't need to give me everything under the sun to the point to where I can't make any decisions myself, but you need to give me enough to where the questions are answerable from me, right? Because we've talked about that before. We're just like, well, I don't understand. What does this mean? Why did you say this when it doesn't have this? Why does it come from here if it can't do this? Those are questions I can't easily answer. Just saying that you used to be a flying carpet or a sentient piece of clothing or other happenstance that made this happen, I'm like, that's enough. I get it. I can totally make I came up with the whole mummy thing just instantly. Like, there's no questions that I need answered from somebody else in order to use this. That's what we're looking for when it comes to that lore. Is rich lore is nice, but I don't want it to answer every question. I just need it to answer the questions that I easily can't when trying to figure out how to adopt it.
It's just enough to make it make sense.
Yes.
Wherever it is that you're at. And I think for the most part, standard race stuff does a good job with that. It's just like, hey, here's some base lore for these people, make it work however it works in your world. But also, you have a lot to run with. You don't need to be like, oh, well, I don't know this about them. Well, are they like this or are they like this? And I'm like, it gives you the jumping off point to move everywhere you need to.
Bro, the RP of this, like a druid. Can you imagine a bear made of like a literal, like, just burlap sacks and trench coats? I'm just trying to think of like all the different things. Like, every class would have such a unique like I would make sorcerers and wizards vulnerable to fire damage unless they did something. Like, if they went out of their way to say, hey, I'm like, there is fireproof material, if they could find that in world and say, I like bathe in that now, like that's my soap, Instead of you having soap, I bathe in this wax that prevents me from lighting on fire.
Sure.
You know what I mean? If you're in dry temperatures, I'd make you more vulnerable. If you're in wet temperatures, you're less vulnerable to fire.
Isn't there something, you know how when you're like burning a torch, right? You wrap it in whatever material, but then you soak that material, right?
Yeah.
And the material itself doesn't really burn.
Exactly.
But it does get lit on fire. Like imagine if they did that to just like their fist or something like that. Like I soak it in there and now I'm light this mess on fire and now I'm just gonna start I'm a monk. I'm gonna just start wailing on you with my flaming fists, dude. Like that would be crazy.
Well, and you could have so much fun. Like for DMs that like to use encumbrance, if you're not made out of leather, if you're made more out of like, looser materials like regular clothes, they become more encumbered the more wet they are. But leather wouldn't. You know what I mean? So it's like really getting into like what you were talking about based on what materials you are comprised of.
Right.
You can give them different benefits. You can give them opportunities. I mean, I would even, and you could go so far because a lot of people that make constructs in Warforged like to do some weird things to like RP their builds. I can imagine someone trying to be like, hey, if I'm made out of leather, can I technically make an interior pocket and then make that waterproof? So can I just have a built-in wineskin? But like weird little things like that to where it doesn't matter. Like you could just say you have a wineskin or you could say you have a built-in one. But at the end of the day, that RP is a lot different. Or imagine this, right? If we're saying that this is just an amalgamation of clothes, if you allow the idea that these clothes can shift and move and change, that also means that I can change a pocket. So I can be like, here's the key, guys. It's right here. Now the pocket's over here. Or I have a fake key in this pocket they don't know about. I take the real key, put it in this pocket, but then suddenly the pockets shift. So if the rogue goes in and pickpockets me, they took a fake key. Like, you could give them that opportunity to where you can't tell what's on them. They could hide their weapons better than anybody else, right? Like, they could just be like, open your cloak, and they do this. And they're like, open your vest, and then this. But the thing is just constantly shifting and moving underneath a different piece of clothing. There is so much you can do with this.
Facts.
I think my favorite piece though is really messing around with like the idea of what happens when you lose clothes, because I do like the idea of theorizing what is the minimum amount. So I think what I would do in High Point, and Dez, feel free to use this, I would do it in High Point to where I'd figure out what your origin was, and that's the bare minimum. If you so let's say you were a flying carpet.
Sure.
Under everything. When you're basically stripped of everything, that's the last thing that you can't be. That's the last thing you could become. You could strip off everything down to that. Maybe you're only down to like 10 hit points or make whatever you had at first level.
Sure.
And that's the lowest you can get. So if you started out as like a pair of trousers, then that's the lowest thing you can be. But you would in High Point, I'd definitely say that at a cost of your HP. But then there's also an extent of like based on your level, how big you can get. But I really would play around a lot with how far could someone be torn apart before they would truly die.
Sure.
And I think that experience should be so much different than a regular playing character just losing life. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Like I really want to play around more with it's not about
crazy?
Just consciousness and life and death. It's more about like rebuilding
being a race like this. And I don't actually know how true this is for Warforged as well, but like something as simple as losing a hand is nowhere near as detrimental to a race like this as it would be to a humanoid or just like a regular, flesh and blood race, Like if a tiefling loses a hand, you need the regenerate spell in order to get that hand back. Or you need a prosthetic, you need something like that. You just need to go to the fabric shop and
that's why I would almost say like those things could even be tied to level up, just so if you don't want them to feel like they can't really get hurt. But I wouldn't even, again, I like the idea of every level up you can add or you can replace. But yeah, we got a lot of good comments as well. Codex, I really like the idea of if you are able to adjust your size, being able to pose as an accessory is a phenomenal idea. I mean, you could go so far as to offer one of the backstories being that you used to be a bag of holding. Can you imagine that? Like, you're just such a powerful bag of holding, so many magical items were put into you at some point that you became sentient. And so what would that mean, right? Like, what would it mean to be able to be carried by one of the party, but, you know, would you still have, you know, usefulness in combat? Or is it just more of a advisory role? But that would be fascinating to be able to actually be an accessory with the party. A true accessory to the crime. Dez with the hardened leather comment. Yes, hardened leather is a powerful build. That's what I would do in High Point. I would absolutely let people base their source on whatever they wanted. So if someone wanted to be a suit of armor, I would absolutely allow that. They could base themselves on a suit of armor, but therein lies the issue: is their base will always be that suit of armor. They wouldn't ever be able to remove any of that base, right? So all they could do is wrap it. And I might even go so far as to base it on whatever you choose. You can only have relatable material. So if you started out as a suit of armor, you can't just cover yourself with a bunch of linen, right? Like, you'd only be able to cover yourself with more related type items like metals, other armors, you know, maybe a gambeson on the inside, but nothing, you know, you wouldn't just be able to like fill yourself with fancy clothes. But if you chose leather, you'd be bound to more leather and durable products and not like the nice ones. So it'd be very interesting to see how those limitations would make players approach it differently. And I think more excited too about the NPCs I can now create. I mentioned before that I've done living clothes, but nothing to this extent. So having my players be able to combat living clothes, I think would be a phenomenal encounter. You know, you're breaking into a mansion and all of a sudden two of the, you know, the armors come alive, and then a couple other things that just look like displays come alive, and then you're just fighting clothes. That would be a fascinating fight, I think. Especially when no one's talking, no one's yelling, it's just silent clothes just coming at you. Would be really a crazy kind of battle to just narrate. That would be fascinating. Yeah, you could be the backpack from Dora. Yeah, I was mentioning, Codex was mentioning the idea of being able to be accessories of the party. Like, if you were a small creature, could you be a backpack?
I mean, do they have the ability to be whatever shape they wish?
Well, and that's the thing. And so I was mentioning, like, I would always have it go based on what they wanted. So what if the character wanted to, their original form used to be a bag of holding that got shoved so full of magical items, it eventually gained sentience. So if that was the case, that would be really cool, that at any point you could ditch all your other stuff and someone could just carry you as a bag of holding. And then guess what? All your other material could be shoved inside of you. And then when you got there, they just have to empty it out and then you would reform.
See, what happens if you in your regular form get shoved into a bag of holding? Then goodbye world.
The Iron Fist and the Velvet Glove. I love this. No, this is actually this might be one of my top. Like, I mean, obviously you don't have a lot of 10 out of 10s, but man, this is up there with Double or Nothing.
Dude, this is so cool.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like this is like I don't even think we were halfway through before I was just like, I'm probably gonna steal this. I'm like, we didn't get very far before I'm just like, man, this is just too good. Yeah, it's like, it's so weird. I don't want to take anything away from it, but while I want to add to it, I think adding to it should be situational. And that's where I think it'll be great in High Point, because every character build is 100% unique and situational, right? There's not a single person in my realm in the last, 13 years who's ever even come close to making the same character.
Sure.
I honestly don't think it's possible in High Point. Unless two people talked it out, I don't think it'd be possible. But that's why I don't want to do that to this. I don't want to just add all of those optional rules, because I really think that this is one of those options. Now, too many DMs would take this and say, no, that's all you get. But this is one of those builds. This is one of the builds that the AD&G and the APHP are going to exist for, is to get DMs to think about taking something like this and not just using it for verbatim. Being able to take this and be like, hey, this is a great idea, but what if they were a magic carpet? Could they have a hover speed of 20 instead of 35? Like, there's so many more conversations that I want people to have with themselves about, I like this, but how do I make it make more sense to my setting and my campaign without saying, well, that's all I can use? Because I do feel like there's two issues with that. In one respect, you have DMs who give up on things too quickly because as written it doesn't work, so I have to find something else.
For sure.
Like, I loved it. Oh, but that one thing, I don't have constructs in my realm, so nope, we gotta move it. Like, but what do you have that would make sense? That's, I think, what we want to promote is like, just because it's not exact, you can just fudge,
right?
And then it works. But then the other aspect too is not just the DMs who are like hard set on this doesn't work because it's as written, but how many DMs would not see this through to the full extent in their own realm? Like, DMs would love this, they'd use it, and everyone would have fun playing it. But how many times in that same campaign is someone going to be like, man, but if this race could do this, that would have been so cool. Because it made sense in that campaign or in that setting. But it wasn't written, so no one thought to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the thing, is there are some people who just won't even try it, and then other people who won't try it to its full extent. And that's what I think really the ADMG and the APHP are really going to be focusing on, is getting people to that stage. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Don't give up on something because it's not perfect. Like, budget to make it better, or budget to make it the best it can be in your setting.
Yeah.
Because that's really where I feel homebrew is best used, is to enhance what you've already made, not recreate the wheel, right? Like, I think homebrewing often fails when people try to recreate the wheel.
Sure.
Instead of trying to make it make sense. Like, I've made so many different magic types, right? Like, I've created new types of magic for myself. Now, I've said before that I mainly did that because I thought D&D was lacking, but it wasn't so much that I think these should be everywhere. I have not promoted my component sorcerer. I haven't made that and put it out there.
Sure.
Because I don't think it makes sense. Not only for 5th edition, it doesn't make sense for a lot of people to do it that way, because it's pure creativity. It's literally a magic class purely based on roleplay.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't exist. There are no hard and fast rules. It is a purely roleplay mechanic. But I wanted that. I wanted that for my setting because
it's not necessarily something that's replicatable for all settings.
Exactly, and that's why I've kind of started to change the way that I say things, because that's what I think. And maybe that I should make a more TikTok content on this, but like, in my opinion, homebrewing should be used to like enhance what you have, not recreate the rules, right? So for me, I've created multiple magics not because I think those need to be the new rules, but because those make the most sense to make my world feel better.
Sure.
And that's where I think a lot of homebrew gets hate, is because a lot of people are like, well, why reinvent the wheel when this person already did that? You can go play this other game. It's like, because that doesn't make sense for the story I'm telling.
And because, a lot of the times, like, even when I'm doing like coding and programming and stuff like that, there are a lot of times where there's something out there, there's like a tool out there that does really close to what I want to do, but it doesn't quite hit the mark. It doesn't actually do the thing. Like, I would have to do some but like, if you want to make something that does a thing, that has a certain vibe, that has a certain, like, you can do that. Like, you can go make exactly what you want. I was actually playing around over the weekend, and I was trying to get a certain snippet of code to work in some of my stuff, and I was chatting back and forth with AI trying to figure out how to do this, and it gave me a solution, and that solution worked. But it was this huge long thing of code, and I'm like, dude, this is a whole lot to do this simple thing. Like, I really just want it to be this. And I found a way that they thought wasn't possible, that they thought wouldn't work. I even said it into them and was like, hey, would this work? And they were like, no, it won't work because this isn't this, but it does.
I mean, it's AI for you.
Exactly. But like, that's the thing that I'm talking about. I think too many players do the same thing.
The first NPC that I'm going to make with this race.
Yeah.
I'm going to make a psionicist.
Okay.
Because the idea that I have is, imagine a psionicist that's this race that can put on someone else's clothes to better become them. Like, because there's something in, psionicist where you can like basically become someone else based on what they are, or like you could kind of like read and kind of take on their mannerisms. But imagine being able to have like the ability to like, you sneak into their place, you put their clothes on, and that helps you get their mannerisms.
Sure.
Like you put on their pants, and because you can feel the fabric, you know that they have a limp. So you can walk because you feel how the fabric needs to
Interesting.
Right? Like there's so many little things that you'd be able to manipulate and that's what I think I would do, is starting off with like a psionicist and they're like a spy. And that's their big thing, is put on other people's clothes so from a distance they look like them, but they also can feel and get those mannerisms as well as then sound like them because of psionic abilities. Yeah. Cloth brother. Join the cloth. What's going on, Neon? How you doing? All right, so we got the baby's permanents. Dora will be an adventuring fighter. Classmates will be the Gorilla-kin barbarian. Backpack will be the Clothkin rogue. I mean, that works. I kind of dig it if you could do, like, I wouldn't even let a single player play that duo. You know what I mean? If like the backpack never was like always had to be carried, I wouldn't mind them playing like the two personalities.
Dude, I have been debating, like, I really want to play a character that is just a regular dude. They are literally a commoner, but the player is like their weapon, like a sword or something. Like the sword is sentient. You're just carrying the sword around. The sword's making it. You're listening. Oh yeah, he says to go and do this thing, you guys. Like, imagine if it's just some little kid that's like holding Excalibur or something.
So that's part of where
I would freaking love that.
That is part of where Soul Eater does influence High Point a lot. Is there is a whole society of warrior sword combos where the swords are sentient and actually different than sentient weapons, though. That's where I made the distinction with this particular case, is unlike most situations where sentience is based on either, you know, divine magic or otherworldly power that got it to become sentient. The Soul Eater like society that these come from are specifically people who have volunteered to be placed in them, and they become the weapon.
Interesting.
So it's like it's an actual side of things. So two people will actually train as kids, like they'll get paired up and they'll train from a young age, but one of them is trained to become the sword, one of them is trained to become the wielder.
You know what I just found out, and I don't know how accurate this is, but both the anime Fire Force and the anime, I think it's called Gintama, it's a really new one that just kind of came out. They are both the past and future of Soul Eater. So Fire Force is before and Gintama is after.
I might have to watch that.
I've seen some videos of like how they're connecting the two, and like and it's super weird because you watch some of the animation in like Fire Force, because I've been watching Fire Force for a while, and I've noticed very similar things. And you start seeing, you know how the moon is super weird and the moon has got like a face and everything. You see the like little plants of that in these anime. It is so freaking cool.
I'm curious. So I'll have to look up like how it all plays out, what the overarching story is, because I really like Soul Eater. Soul Eater was such a cool.
Soul Eater's very cool. Very cool.
Neon, we just finished up a review. We do a community review every Monday.
Almost finished.
Well, almost finished.
Did we give it a score yet?
Yeah, 10 out of 10.
Oh, was that bad when that happened?
No, that was the first thing I said. Is I said I was stealing, and I said, yeah, we're just straight out 10 out of 10. Like I said that way early on.
I heard you mention a 10 out of 10, but I didn't know if that was the score you were giving.
Yeah, no, 100%. Like that's why I thought like this is hard, because I didn't know if this is on par with Double or Nothing. Like in terms of my favorite submission so far, this is up there with Double or Nothing, because those two have so far been like just absolute. I read them and I'm like, that I'm having it. Give it to me. I mean, yeah, we'll be on it for a few more minutes. We'll be on it for a little bit, yeah. But we normally on Mondays we start at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and then on Fridays we start at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And Fridays are always different. Sometimes we'll do some like deeper dives into D&D history and other aspects of D&D. Sometimes we'll play board games and like new board games, learn them on stream and everything. And we're also making a VTT of Marvel Rivals. So we are making a virtual tabletop to play on Twitch with our Twitch chat. We're currently in the alpha stage right now, so we have all of the characters built. We have a lot of the mechanics and how it's going to play out. We're just doing play testing. We did that last Friday, and we're just trying to figure out exactly how we're going to turn that into something that can be an interaction with chat, with an actual visual. So yeah, we kind of do a lot. We used to do only D&D content. So Fridays were a lot of like history ofs, and deep dives talking about our own settings. But now we've kind of
branching out a little bit. We like it. We
branched
love
out
it.
into more gamey kind of stuff. But yeah, if you're interested, we can do !Discord in chat. If you're interested, you can always join the Discord, submit your own homebrew. That will be slotted for an available Monday, and we'll review it, give you our take. Basically, just kind of give you our first impressions, what we might do with it. And then at the end, we give a score out of 10, or I give a score out of 10 for compatibility with my realm of High Point. And it's not really a score of how good the build is. It's just more of a score of how likely I would be to use it in my setting. 10 out of 10. Like today's item being that I will probably use it and I'm probably going to steal it. And a 1 being that it's either just unusable, broken, or does not fit at all in my setting. And then there's just a variance there. So yeah, that's what we do every Monday. And yeah, we're building ever since. We have a TikTok account. We have our YouTube channel, both a bots account and a main channel. So you can actually find all of those here if you're interested in following us. You're a homebrew DM, but just have concepts, nothing finished or nothing fleshed out. Well, that's where it all starts. Honestly, that's where High Point started. I started building High Point nearly 15 years ago. And it's just, it's been an ever growing concept. But yeah, that's a lot of what we do here in our Discord is talk about homebrew and how to make people better. Because for us, we're not professional. We don't know what we're doing. We're not necessarily the best, but we just like to give a different perspective and promote the idea that there is no wrong way to do it.
And community is great for that. And that's why we have a channel specifically set up for people to just talk about their homebrews and like get ideas from different people and be like, hey, what do you guys think about this? Hey, what do you guys think about this? And, you know, like we've said plenty of times before, when we do these reviews, sometimes it will give you inspiration to change your idea, and sometimes it'll solidify what you know you want to do. And so like whatever it is, you're just kind of helping to figure out what you want your games to look like, feel like, sound like, be like, and, you know, work well for the players that you have. So yeah, we would love to have you if you want to come hang out with us. If you want to submit anything for review because you found something that you really like it, or if you just want to work with some people on building your homebrew, you know, we're super here for that. So yeah, welcome, come chill with us.
A Pilates class. Yeah, that's exactly what we'll do. We'll do Pilates. Oh, appreciate it. Let's we're still working on it. I keep saying this like every stream that I will fix the Discord, but I still haven't yet. So our onboarding process is a little bit finicky. But you're now verified, so now you have access to everything. So you should see all of our channels in our Discord. They should be self-explanatory. There is an FAQ that explains a little bit about some of them. But if you have any questions, feel free to post it in the community chat. Or if you see us, you know, when we're live, you can always ask questions. But hopefully it's mostly self-explanatory. We have a great community. I think we do. It's been a great time building this, but we're always looking for new people. So thank you so much for joining. Appreciate you.
Heck yeah.
Let's see here.
Mushroom NPCs, wild. That's gonna be dope.
What's going
on? It says most of my stuff is just like mushroom NPCs that have a network of what is that? Brain cells. I think that's way cool shit. I would love, at the very least, give me the idea on like how that actually works in game. I wanna know, like, can they be like miles apart? Is it just like, hey, or is it like hive mind almost? Like I would love to hear about stuff like that.
Absolutely, yeah. And most people, if you post anything on like the homebrewing channel, we have like 5 or 6 like solid regular posters. Anybody who you know, posts like homebrew, we usually have about half a dozen people that like to jump in and give commentary and help. And everyone's usually really supportive. We have a couple people who are rule sticklers and might be a little bit more like, nah, I don't know if that's how it works. But for the most part, we've never had a negative interaction, and no one's ever been like, you know, rude or mean. It's just more of, most people have the absolute best intent and are trying to help, but some people want to be more rules lawyery. Some people are much more about the vibe. And that's kind of what we like about the community, is you'll get the feeling of, if you want to be more rules lawyery, there will be people that will help you out on that and be like, this is what you should say or how you should write it.
Exactly.
But we have plenty of people who are just going to be like, that sounds dope, don't change it.
Right. And I think that's what's kind of cool, because it's like a lot of the times I want something that fits well with the rules. I want something that feels like it goes in association with the rules. And a lot of times I want something wild like psionics, or I want something wild that's just won't fit in the general set of the rules. And so even though it's like, oh, that wouldn't balance, that's okay. Yeah. I'm okay with that, you know? So like, I think this is a great place for you to explore and see whatever it is that you're actually trying to do. So heck yes.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for joining us. Hopefully you enjoy it. And yeah, if you ever do have a finalized item that you want us to review live on stream, you can pop that in the submissions channel or use the homebrewing channel underneath the community section. And then you'll just get feedback from anybody that wants to read up on it and see what's going on. Cart did want to know where they are in the lineup. Do you have an idea of how long until their next item and what it might be next?
Cart. Well, let me take a quick...
henchman background. Yes, I think we
need more. Cool.
We need more backgrounds.
That's very cool.
Like honestly, the guard background's getting kind of lame. Because you have the veteran soldier and the guard. That's basically it. I would love a henchman. That would be so cool. There's a lot of backgrounds that aren't touched upon that I think could be really beneficial.
Cart. Unless I forgot to put something in here, the last item we reviewed from you was Decker, the deck of many things, the living deck of many things.
Yep.
I don't know if we have anything. Oh my gosh. Thank you so much for that meme, Codex. Abso-freaking-lutely. Anyways, wild. Let me look at our submissions channel.
Number 100, Chameleon Folk.
What's that?
Chameleon Folk, number 100. Oh no, that's Dez.
Yeah, I was about to say we did that one already.
No, Chameleon Folk is ahead.
Oh no, yeah.
No, we don't have anything. I don't see anything on my side for Cart anymore. We might be out of Cart. Unless there's something that is not on my side.
There is. I'm just now seeing this. I know it's been a while. I'm making. So this is Fleshsmith subclass. Oh snap! I don't know how I missed this.
So we do got one more for you, Cart.
Heck yes! And so it's been a while since we've done one of yours. So next week, I just inserted actually let me get that updated in our thing real quick. But I just updated it, and we should be doing our very first submission from Codex next week. And then after that, I'm gonna put you in line, Cart, so that we can get that one going. I apologize. I'm gonna do a deep dive and a scrub of our submissions channel. I actually haven't scrubbed it in a while. I've been keeping it pretty full. So I want to make sure I get everything that's in there and make sure that it's all on our leaderboard appropriately.
Man, Dez has a lot more for us. Not just the henchman, but we have Swindler, Laboratory Assistant, Carpenter, which I think that's a fantastic one, Ranch Hand, and Doctor.
That's all from...
that'll be from Dez coming up. That's awesome. I'm really interested. I think, yeah, I really think that we need...
Am I missing
more
those?
Background?
So I didn't see those.
They're not in yet. We're in chat.
So
yeah, so those are going to be really good. I think that there's going to be a lot there, because just backgrounds are kind of boring right now, and we need so many more. Like that, like realistically, like yes, we need more subclasses, but man, like how do you not add more backgrounds in a game like D&D?
I think this is how, because right now, the way things are, most people forget backgrounds exist in 5e. Most of the times, they are almost never referenced, used, or played with in game. Sometimes they have features, but the features feel so situational and so not really usable. It's not that they're not usable, but it's like one of the features is you always have a contact in town and stuff like that, and like you can get it's like okay, but like what am I doing here?
You know, I think so, honestly, I feel like that is so much more on the DM than the players.
Well, I mean, yes, but I think in general, it's just how 5th edition is built right now, and so you know, I think doing different things with backgrounds, making backgrounds feel more useful. I think right now the only reason people pick backgrounds is for the extra either languages or proficiencies or whatever, but they don't actually choose it for, oh, I actually want to be this thing. I actually want to be a soldier. I actually want to be a swindler. I actually want to be whatever, you know? And even if it's not what you are anymore, that is your background, what you came from, like what you were birthed from. So I personally like backgrounds, but I use them for more roleplay purposes and just to inform my character and like how to play them rather than the actual mechanics that the background provides. So I would love to see that just function a little bit better, but you know, that would be my potential addition to like the APHB or something like that, is like make backgrounds more useful, make them more valuable, because right now they just feel a little,
they used to be a lot
like
better.
What are we doing? I mean,
Des, honestly, if you have more, you should just send. I mean, honestly, there's no reason, unless you're still working on it, just send those waivers complete, because then we at least just have it and you won't have to really worry about it.
Oh, 100%. Are you? If you're waiting to put stuff in, please don't.
Yeah, if we have,
give me the things.
We don't have to worry about like the time frame and everything else like that. So, you know, if it's complete, send it over to us. I'd much rather get complete stuff than stuff that you're working on, so then we don't have to worry about like updating it later. But yeah, I mean, you know, I mean, yeah, it might take a while for us to get to it, but at least we'll have it and it'll always be there for us. And yeah, Codex, backgrounds can definitely be catch-alls, and I think again that's a lot of the times, in my opinion, that's how players end up using them, because that's how DMs end up serving them up in terms of,
when you say catch-alls, what are you referring to?
Like the backgrounds, just being able to just be kind of like I'm a noble, so you know, you can't talk to me that way, kind of like they're so
just to inform roleplay.
Yeah,
inform roleplay,
and they really don't have intrinsic benefits, at least the way that they're used. But I think a lot of that just comes down to that's not how DMs serve them up. You know, we had a conversation a while back about how, you know, choosing a class is more than what you can do. You know, a class is so much is equally who you are than what you can do, right? You know, a fighter and a wizard, right? There's a difference in the type of person they are, right? Anybody can be a fighter and learn martial arts. Anybody can, you know, with enough intelligence, can read a book and learn magic. But the ideology behind it, the type of person that goes to study for years to do something versus the type of person that's willing to pick up a sword and shield and defend somebody, those are two different types of people, just in general. I mean, look at people who become accountants and doctors and surgeons and, you know, analysts, and then look at the people who become, you know, soldiers and Marines. And, you know, like, there's just a dichotomy of what your mindset is. And I feel that we've talked about this a lot, where similar with classes, with backgrounds, everything that you choose to build your character should be more than what you get to do with it. It should also build into the type of player and the character that you're going to play. But DMs don't serve that up. Like, very rarely did DMs make the background, the class, any of that truly matter to the way they interact with the world. Because the way that 5th edition and D&D work right now is DMs are encouraged to have a pre-written, pre-generated start to finish story, and players are encouraged to be as strong as possible before they know what they're up against. Like, let's face it, that is D&D in a nutshell right now. Pre-generated stories going up against generated characters that don't know what they're up against, right? And yeah, there's a lot of nuance there, and there's obviously exceptions to that rule. You know, I know a lot of people on TikTok will be like, but that's not how we do it. We always have a session 0. Not everybody does, okay? Yes, you do. Not everybody does. There are so many parties out there, especially the VTT community, where people just show up with builds and expect a story to be fleshed out from start to finish when nobody knows who can do what, right? And then it just kind of becomes this arms race of who can make the most ridiculous, crazy encounter before you even know what's going on. And then DMs just basically have to, you know, play a lot of catch up of making the fights more and more aggressive, even if that doesn't really make sense to the narrative of the story.
Sure.
And that's, again, an issue of 5th edition is you try to have a really engaging story, but you also need to have just this massive uptick in scalability of difficulty. And I don't agree with that. That's why I like the slow burn of the older editions, especially with XP, because it wasn't just this pummel through and get me my next ability, and I already know what I'm going to be when I'm level 20, so let me just do it. It was much more about, I don't know what I'm going to be because I don't know how the story's going to shape. But again, I think it's just, if DMs aren't there to serve up that side of the experience, then players aren't going to be there to think about it. You know what I mean? If you choose a certain background, like you said, like perfect example from Kage is, if you chose a background that gives you a contact in the story, or in every town that you go to, but the way that your DM plays out the story is contacts like that won't matter. Like, oh, but you're, it's like you go to this town and you're going to go straight to the monastery where the advisor is. That's what you were told. So who are you going to go talk to? You already have the contact. That's part of the story is you're going here for that contact. And you go there and you have the conversation. He goes, okay, and the DM's like, oh, here's this great story, blah, blah, blah. You know everything now. You know everything you need to know. So you don't need to use that contact. Right? Like, that's it. Or it's like, I want to find this special item. Roll for it. You found it. So I don't need to go talk to somebody. That's what I mean by the DM's not serving it up, is because I'm not saying the DM has to like go, oh, what's your background? Or what's your background? I need to tie in every single time. But the idea is that if you don't play up the opportunities, when is the player ever going to think to use them? You know what I mean?
Sure.
And that's just a very simple situation. But if you're going to serve them always up the info, then why would they need a contact? If, like one of my things that I loved about old school rogues is they were able to get information when other people couldn't, simply by listening, simply by just going to a bar and hanging out for an hour. They'd be able to just get information just by listening. That was a rogue feature that rogues were able to do, built into the game expressly for the purpose of having DMs say, hey, fighter, you can go talk to the local guild. Wizard, you can go to the local school. Cleric, you can go to the local temple. And rogue, you can go to the bar. And everybody has their own way of getting information, right?
Sure.
And it was very specific to that. It was rogue, like no one could just go to the bar. Like some people would try, but rogues had an ability to like have basically a bonus to the information they could pick up. Typically anyone could just say, hey, I go to the bar and roll a perception. What do I hear?
Sure.
But rogues know what to listen for, right? They know what people to go listen to. They know what side of the bar to sit on. Shit like that. And that's what I miss. But I just don't think it's thought about from the DM's point of view, because I think a lot of DMs think of it from the perspective of, I don't want to have to remember everything my players can do so I can serve them up individual things. I'm like, you don't have to.
Sure.
But you can very easily just open up options, right? Like, again, in that particular case, just don't always give them everything they need before they get a chance to act. Then they'll think about how they're going to get that information, right? It's as simple as that. You don't have to plan for, I know the contact you're going to use because I know that's your background. It's just give them a reason to go for it. Just don't give them everything up front, and then they would have that reason to do it. And that's just it. It's not simple. I won't say that it's just any DM can do it, but I don't think 5th edition helps.
Sure.
Let's see. Might have missed a bit in chat. Chat's been kind of going for a second. I did see what you guys posted in Discord. I don't know if you saw yet what they posted in Discord about the mushroom thing, but it's like a temporary hive mind concept.
Oh, okay.
They can act as their own, but they can go and connect to like the mycelium network of the rest of them. And like if someone learns something over here, if you connect to it, you can actually share and get that info. So it's like a temporary, once in a while, you can connect, get a hive mind, and then branch out of your own.
What would be sick is like anybody inside that thing, you could like use a feature maybe a couple of times a day where if you need to roll like a check, like a history check, and you're not trained in history, but somebody else in the connection is, you can use their stat to do that. Like, I think that would be a sick way to, like, actually manifest that. Like, hey, I need to roll an Arcana check. Hey, you got all these people. Who's good with Arcana? Who's good with this? Who's good with that? Like,
and that would just be an easy, like, like any kind of roll. You could just do a percentile roll to see if they, how good of a connection they made. That would be awesome. Let's see. So, much. So Dez wants a list of everything that they have currently submitted.
I'm gonna work on that for them later.
Okay, cool. Arguably, the nuance comes from suggested characteristics, personality traits, ideas, bonds, flaws, captures the mindset without fundamentally changing the background. And that's the other thing, too. Those, I feel, I've seen very few groups do that, where they use the things like flaws, bonds, ideals. But even when they do, I feel like 9 times out of 10, in my experience, that was used to build a personality, not a character. Like, they'll do these flaws, but they won't really live by the flaws or the ideals. It'll just be more in like, oh, he's, big and strong, so all of that, like he's there for the, the weak man. Like, he's there to, like, defend the weak man. But at the end of the day, all it is they're just the big, I'm not gonna get bullied guy. But at the reality, they're not actually looking out for the downtrodden. You know what I mean? They're still haggling with all of the local shops in poor towns. You know what I mean? They're not giving extra money. They're still willing to threaten someone who won't give them information instead of trying to help them out of their situation. Like, they say the ideal is helping those people, but in reality, it just turns into what they think that character sounds and acts like,
right?
Without actually doing those things. So that's where I'm just like, I feel like a lot of that just is both in the storyteller as well as the game mechanic that doesn't enforce it or encourage it. But that's also where we get into those deep arguments online about alignment. And people just don't understand how to use alignment. They don't understand what it's for. And I feel like that's kind of why things like bonds, traits, and flaws never really kicked off in 5th edition, is because that weird sect of people who don't get alignment and are just so vocal against it, I think kind of killed these other background traits.
Yeah, I think a lot of people, again, kind of like you're saying, they view it restrictive. And again, like I said, like we've always said, do what makes you and your group happy. If you don't want to use alignment, don't use alignment, right? If it's too confusing, too complicated, it makes you feel too pigeonholed, great, live your life. But there is a way to go about it that doesn't do those things. And if you find enough value in what having alignment brings versus what you think it takes away, I think it's worth investigating how to use it appropriately. And I say appropriately in quotes because it's not, you use it however the heck you want to use it, but like use it in a way that feels better, especially if you think the way it works right now doesn't feel good.
Yeah. Hey, Neon, about your question about the artwork. So yeah, if it's D&D specifically related and it's either something that inspires you use in your game or self-written, yeah, D&D artwork channel is perfectly fine for that. If you are an artist and just want to kind of promote the type of art you do to the community, we also have an art gallery channel. That's just for any kind of thing that you do, but the art gallery is very specific to created art, so you have to be an artist. You had to actually make it yourself. It can be digital, it just can't be AI generated, and it just can't be commissioned work from somebody else. But the D&D artwork channel, open to anything D&D related, as long as it's some sort of, representation of what you use or an inspiration. But yeah, that one's kind of open-ended as long as it's D&D related. But yeah, I see that you posted something. I want to take a look at that. Oh no, that was Soul. Soul posted there recently. But yeah, so if you are interested in posting in the artwork, yeah, the D&D artwork channel, totally open to D&D stuff. But if you want to promote your own self-created art for any reason, the art gallery is also open to you. So far behind chat.
I love that problem. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, I kind of also agree. Again, like I said, I think a lot of it is there is some things that D&D 5e doesn't encourage based mechanically, but the mechanics are still there. But I still would say that yes, it's mostly on the DMs, but there isn't a lot of encouragement or reward for the DMs the way that it's written into 5e. Like a lot of things we've talked about this long and long ago, but 5e, a lot of the things that they kept from older editions, there's some things that are just more of a, yeah, this thing exists if you want, but hey, really, this is the cool stuff. Like I think we talked about this when it comes to like deities and gods. Like the older editions were all about like gods are here, gods have control, gods are infecting your life and doing things. And 5e kind of more feels like they got to the point where they're like, oh yeah, gods, they're over there, they're doing stuff, but hey, let's talk about this. And it's like that's kind of how it feels. Like yeah, they're there, but they're not really like as much a part of the day-to-day gaming experience as it kind of used to be. So.
And I'm not gonna lie, I feel like specifically when it comes to like stuff like gods, it feels like they are trying to set this stuff up so people don't feel like in order to play D&D, I have to enter into some sort of religious something. It's like you can play this game and never even mention the word God if you want to.
Exactly.
And great, more power to you. But they do exist. If you do want some, we got some lore for you.
Yeah.
Like, and so, you know, I can see the benefit, but I also see that where a lot of the gameplay that like you had when you were coming up with it, like it feels lost. It feels like there's it feels like there's no.
I mean, going from the old school system where speaking to gods was not necessarily a daily occurrence, but speaking directly to a god was not uncommon. And now basically just feeling like they're just kind of detached literally from reality. It is weird for me. But again, that's why I do appreciate how much they've evolved and how much they've changed, because it does play to different people's interests. But that's where also people have to remember that additions aren't replacements, they're expansions, they're alterations. You just because we're in 5th doesn't mean you can't play 3rd or 4th or 2nd or 1st. There's nothing stopping you from doing that. But so many people were like, oh, those are gone, those are old now. But it's like, but they're still games, they're still there, they still have all the like, it still works. It's just not what the most modern version of it. But people have this mindset of, because it's a modern version, like, you know, everyone was like, I refuse to go to 2024. I don't like these rules. Okay. No one's telling you have to. They're just updating it for a new generation.
It's just a menu. It's a menu. Choose what you want. I don't like 2024 as a whole necessarily, but you better believe there's going to be stuff I'm going to steal from it. You better believe there's going to be value in that I'm going to be taking.
But the idea that people are just like, oh, that's a 3rd edition rule, you can't use that. But like, but what if I play 3rd edition? Like, that's not 5e. You're absolutely right, it's not. It's almost like,
how does gonna happen, man?
Honestly, D&D very similarly evolves like Final Fantasy. They can all the editions can basically be standalone, but they all have a lot in common.
Okay.
Like the Final Fantasy series, like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Final Fantasy 7 and Final Fantasy 10, two completely different games.
Very much so.
But they're also still both Final Fantasy games.
Yes.
So, you know what I'm saying? Like, in that respect, like, you know, you have old school Final Fantasy. There's still valid games. You can go pick up an SNES and go play Final Fantasy Tactics all you want. Is it nice and flashy and modern? No, but it's still enjoyable as what it is. But people are just like, nope. They have a PS5 now. You can't touch an SNES now. Why would I ever go 8-bit? I have a PS5 in VR. I will never do anything ever. It's like, no,
listen,
that's not how we do it.
Hot take, best console ever is N64.
See, there you go.
Best console ever. I don't care what modern, whatever you want to come out with. That's just what I'm saying. N64 all day. Star Fox and GoldenEye, those are my jams. And that's just because that's what I grew up with. All right?
I get that. Part with a highlighted message. So do we think the backgrounds could be adopted? So if you have like a human living and raised by half giants, would they be able to have some sort of kinship, or would that be something that, you know, at least they'd be able to speak the language? So in High Point and everything, in most things, there's definitely a lot of bleed over, like absolutely languages, knowledge, things of that sort. But if you had, say, a racial specific type of background, could a non, like, again, like, you know,
could a non-dragonborn have a dragon lineage?
Yes, because that's more genetics, right? Like, that's just kind of like, maybe you're just not, you know, maybe you're just an off-breed, and then,
sure.
You know, it just kind of opened up, like you're that 1% chance that your bloodline will reactivate. So that stuff. But I'm thinking, like, you know, if there was a situation where, like, let's say there was like a storm giant and they had a certain ability that only is under storm giants, would you allow a human with the background living with a storm giant have a storm giant racial ability? I think in High Point, there's always a situation that can be discussed, right?
Sure.
In High Point, because every character is that unique, as a rule, I don't allow those kind of, like, there's a reason why they have those abilities. But if it fits into the story in a justifiable way, I would allow it. But of course, I don't allow min-maxing, so it's not like you could just be like, oh, well, then if I had built this elaborate story where I lived with half giants until I was 10, and then I became a dragonborn, and then I did this, and then I did this, I could be like 5. It's like, no, you can't do that. But if you want to say, hey, I really like this idea that, you know, my town was destroyed by giants, and they felt sorry because it was by mistake. So they took all of us in as orphans, and because the thing, they taught us how to do different stuff, and so I just want to be able to do this one thing that these giants can do. I'm like, yes, that's a beautiful story.
It feels like it's way less about what you want to do and way more about why you want to do it. Because if we're out here so focused on, hey, I want to be able to do all the things, so let me make the most convoluted background just so it theoretically makes sense that I can do all. No, like, why are we doing this, right? You're not going to actually you're not going to actually cognitively be able to play into all of those things throughout your game. Like, it's just not going to function that way. And so when you think about the development of an individual, what genuinely makes sense? Does it really make sense that you've got all of these different things? Oh, I got part raised by a dragon, but I also got part raised by a hag, but I also got part raised by something.
And then I also got by a vampire. And then it became a lycanthrope because, you know.
And I'm like, wait, what type of life did you live that now is it theoretically possible?
And then
sure.
And then all of that, and now we're starting with you at level 1. So you did all of that.
Nah, bro.
But that's my thing. It's like, so yeah, I think that those things always have a discussion, but it's more about the why, not the what. For me, technically anything's possible. You know what I mean? In the story. But I don't want it. If you just want it to want it, it's not good enough. It has to make the story valid. It has to make the story rich, and you have to be able to utilize it, right? Like, if you can't utilize it and you're just doing it to do it, it's going to ruin the effect for both of us. You know what I mean? Yeah, again, might as well go play a video game and just use a mod.
Sure.
Like, that's kind of how I feel. It's like, it's going to ruin the story I've made and the way that my realm works if you just get to do whatever you want, whenever you want, because it sounds cool. Like, I don't know, that kind of sandboxy stuff gets old for me, because then again, you're just playing a contest of who can make the most elaborate, insane build and who can deal out the most damage before the other.
Yeah. And see, it's funny because people will try and do stuff like that in my realm, and they'll just find that it just doesn't work, because no matter how theoretically OP you are, there's something that can fuck with you.
And Card even goes a little bit further, like with like the kinship ideas. Like, say you wanted it in your background, you were raised by giants. Would that mean that when dealing with giants, you'd get a bonus because you understand their culture? 100% yes. That alone, you don't even have to convince me. If you just say, I background, for some reason, I fell in with this group of people, so whenever I run into these type of people, can I have that background? Can I just have a bonus to talk to them? Yes. If you have a noble background, you're going to have an advantage talking to nobles. If you have a soldier background, you're going to have advantage talking to soldiers, right? Because you know the lingo. You and me, we're in the military. If we run into military people, once we say that, once we kind of say, hey, I was there, there's just that kind of like okay, there's an instant respect. I don't have to overly respect you, but I'm like, okay, at least I know that you did a bare minimum standard that I understand, right?
Right. If you were in the military, you at least went through boot camp.
Yeah.
And you at least have some sort of experience of...
And you understand the vibe, the camaraderie. So yeah, there's a lot there. And I absolutely think that right there is a much better example than it would be easier to do something like that than take like their abilities that are born with. But there's always something like that. And yeah, if you're a human and you were raised by wood elves, I would not only say that you just have advantage on talking to wood elves, but you would also have a free pass in a certain, wooded village. Like, you probably have like an actual place that you can, find refuge in, just because, you're on the lam or whatever. Like,
yo, did Cosmic sneak into chat just to throw down on our community stream for October?
Probably.
That's wild. Kudos to you, Cosmic. Nice and happy belated birthday.
Yes,
I sent it to you in Discord, but right on, dude. 33 is a good year. I'm telling you.
Ooh, so Draconic Foster, adopted by a dragon, you get a special draconic gift from your parents as you set out into the world, like a piece of a dragon scale shield that would give you an extra +1. See, that's fantastic. Those are the kind. See, Codex, that literally sounds like something I would have said in High Point. Like, that right there is exact. So funny enough, actually, Vixie just went through a ceremony and ironically got a couple of draconic gifts. So it's literally just that we just had that conversation the other day. So those kind of vibes are exactly what we're here for.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Let's see, Neon, if you answered your question, I don't know which question you're referring to, Neon, because we've been going through them. Which question? Are you talking about the question for the art, or retype the question, because I'm still getting through all the chat.
We getting there. You guys spamming the mess out of us. But I love it.
This is probably one of the heavier chats that we've had in a minute. Yeah. I haven't had a scroll chat in a long time. It's a buffet, not lunchtime. Let's see. So, like
the art one was answered.
Okay, got it. Sorry, Codex. I'm reading your longer question. Okay, so that's a great one. Yeah, Ask Your DM has also changed, and I think that there's a couple different reasons why this has changed so much. I think number one, the access to the availability, right? You know, when you're talking about first and second edition and anything prior to that, you only had your DM. Like, the only person that could possibly run the game was the person who owned the material, right? And it wasn't just like everybody had it on their phone. People didn't just go buy, 24 books, everybody. It was like one person that had 2 books and it was like, I think I can do this. And that was it. Everybody was beholden on the DM, which is where this is the era that I came from. So for me, I'm definitely one of those people where I'm staunch on the idea that a DM should never tire of answering questions. Like, to me, that it has always been the DM's role, is to be the person who understands the most about the world and how the rules work. Now, I get it. Sometimes certain rules get a little bit frustrating because there are some things you expect your players to remember. But I've just never been, like, if it's the first time of a question or just a rehash, I've never been bothered by questions. But there are some DMs who are like, you should know that, or you can go read that. But I think that shift happened primarily, because the availability is now basically, opened up to everyone. And again, the way that the game has started to shift into the control. Control really has been taken a lot away from the DMs in multiple ways that we've talked about before, and more control is being put on the players, right? Like, we've talked about how it used to be that you had to build your player with your DM, and now it's kind of a 50-50.
I just saw TikTok about that.
It's like 50-50 on whether or not people even have a session 0 to share what they've built, let alone build it with the party. Some people have mentioned that they do that, where they'll sit down and build it with everybody. Other people just talk about it after they've built it. Other people just show up blind and just play, right? And so it's this weird dichotomy where DMs have been empowered to push off a lot of responsibility to players, but players have also I don't want to say abused it, but they have really gone full swing with the availability of information, right? The entitlement of knowing your entire build. And then there is that level of problem where the builds are so blatant that there is no opportunity for you to have kind of a mystery of what's next, right? Like, you choose a subclass, boom, I already know everything I'm going to get. Like, you chose it because of everything you were going to get. There's really, like, aside from a few feats, ASIs, there's no mystery here, right? And that's where I think a lot of that responsibility has been shifted, because players are so interested in their characters and they got so much information that now DMs it was easy to be like, you look it up. I don't have to know that. I only know my story. But then that's, again, divided the responsibility to where the DMs are so focused on the story they've pre-written, and the character and players are so focused on the rules that guide how their build works, that you're having someone like, I need to get this story start to finish, and then you have other people going, I need to make sure these rules work to make this build work. That's not making a full-on story. You know what I mean? You're butting heads because this person's like, no, but the rules say I should be able to do this, and if I can't do it, then my build doesn't make sense. And they're like, but the story needs to go this direction. And it's like, guys, these two things can blend, but neither of you want to ebb and flow. You both just want to say, no, this is how it needs to work because this is what I made, right? The DM's like, I made the story, and the player's like, I made the character, but they're both working off the same rule sets, but mad that they don't work with each other.
It's so interesting. Like, just hearing you talk makes me feel like I found this is true in most relationships. And I'm just talking about like dating relationships, but even just friendships or just meeting people and interacting with people. So often the struggle you have is my worldview or my concept of how this is supposed to work differs from your concept of how this is supposed to work. And I'm unwilling to see what your perspective is, and you're unwilling to see what my perspective is. And so we just sit there butting heads forever, and nobody actually is is gaining anything from it. But if you can just stop for a second and be like, okay, I see what you're trying to build here. It's the what's it called? The improv mentality, the yes and mentality. It's like, right. I'm out here saying, hey, you are trying to build this thing. I get it. You were trying to lead us through a story. I get it. I'm trying to help you accomplish that by all the things that we got going on. Right. So I think that there's definitely a way to make that happen for us. There's a way to build that for us and what we do. And so I think that more players and DMs need to be, from my perspective, less focused on control and more focused on what you're building together, what you're doing together. Because it is, I know we've talked about it like a million times, but it is very much a collaborative effort playing D&D. It is so hard when it's just like, no, it's my way. No, it's my way. No, it's just like, it stops being fun. It really does.
Let's see, Soul, what background would Soundwave from the original Transformers, the one that used to transform into a cassette player? I said Bard, because that's the only thing I can really think of for him from the original, because I know that
is that the dude that's like a Kenku who can only basically speak in stuff from other things?
That's I think that was the original one.
Oh no, it was Bumblebee.
That Bumblebee's newer version does that, but I thought they based that originally off of Soundwave. I thought the new Bumblebee in the live action.
Wasn't Soundwave in the most recent Transformers?
Is he?
Yeah, that was the dude that, because there was this one kid that like actually jumped in a Transformer suit, and it was like the leftovers of Soundwave.
Oh, maybe.
And he was
Soundwave is one of those ones, like I know the name, I can't remember anything about like the character. So yeah, I mean, my Bard was like my first one that I went to, because you know Bard has so much opportunity for it. You know.
Yep.
So the most elaborate build Des ever made was the denture lock. I do remember you sharing us some of those details.
Denture lock?
We were talking about the coffee lock, and they did the denture lock, and I think this has to do with being like
old.
No, I think it's like a vampire where it's like, or no. The denture lock is like. What was it? It was something where it was the grapple thing where you could just like, I forget. I remember we were talking about like the coffee lock, like the like the infinite war lock, but this one was something where it was kind of like that, where it was like an instance. It was like a infinite stun.
Stun.
Like I think they were basically just like infinitely like the person was basically just like
stun locked into infinity.
I want to say that's what it was, but it's been a minute since we talked about that one. Leon has a question. Can you use a class as flavor text? I hate that word. I want to use a monk for flavor text for my ex-cultist undead bond druid, but you know if you can do that. So there's nothing that says you can't. I mean, a lifestyle and a class don't necessarily have to be the same thing. A monk class, like this is one of the things again I miss from the original way that first E and like 1 and 2E really emphasized how to play the players or how to play the characters, because when you chose to be a thief, no one in the party knew you were a thief. You're just some dude. You have skills, but like the fighter, unless he was decked out in armor, is just a dude with a sword. Guess what? A bard can carry a sword. The mage can carry a sword. A nobleman can carry a sword. In the original, you were totally meant to play as if these are just people, but you did not physically embody what you did. Like, yes, occasionally you'd get the paladin in full plate mail, but it's like nowadays we think paladin has to be fully decked out, giant ass sword. We think the wizard we think of these stereotypes, but that's not how it used to, it is not how it was encouraged. And so when we talk about this, the monk is not a monk. The monk class is just a martial artist. Like, but most people play a monk as like, oh, I'm going to be basically Dalzine, or I'm going to be Sayama. Like, they play it so stereotypically, but this is why I say, like, my favorite bard was the luchador, the storytelling luchador who took care of orphans. Favorite bard of all time. My favorite barbarian was the butler who hated his clothes being dirty. And that's what would make him go rage.
Right.
Like, shit like that blows out the expectations. So I 100% agree. Yes, if you want a undead druid, fun druid cultist, they can absolutely have lived the life of a monk. They could have lived in a monastery. They could have done all of the meditations. That doesn't make them the class. monk.
It sounds like you want the background of
that's what they're asking. Is can you or the enlightened background? Yeah.
Yeah, like imagine you took a background that was called the enlightened background, and like you were raised in a monastery, you were all about, so like however it is that you want to play up your monkness. Like I was talking earlier about what was I talking about? The Fabrifolk basically being pretending to be a druid, but actually being like a bard or whatever. You know what I mean? Exactly. Like it's all about how you present yourself. It's all about how you play up whatever it is that you're doing.
You say flavor text, and I just don't like that because it implies that it's meaningless, and I hate playing that way. Everything should have meaning. But for me, like the idea of saying like, hey, I have a wizard, but I want him to have the background of a fighter. Okay, so you came from a family of fighters. You were forced into fighting school. You failed, or you dropped out, or you ran away because you couldn't cut it, you weren't strong enough, and you just didn't like getting wailed on by the other kids. And then you found your way to magic. You can then say, well, because I had the fighter background, even though I'm not a fighter class, I know about a bunch of weapons. So I can talk the best talk with any fighter, any veteran. I can look at a sword and know what all about it like a fighter would, but I couldn't wield it for the life of me. Yes, that is a perfect backstory. But that's the idea. Is like I just don't think people think that way because we just dip into the, well, if you're a monk, you're a monk, and if you're a cleric, you're a cleric, and if you're a fighter, you're a fighter. But why can't a fighter have been raised to be a cleric but didn't become a paladin?
And this is just all about how you think about your character differently.
Exactly.
You think about it as not. I swear we said it earlier today. It's like you're not just a culmination of stats. You're a character. Exactly. You're a being that's been around, that's done things. So the question is, what are you hoping to achieve by using monk as flavor text? What are you hoping to embody by saying this? Like,
exactly.
do you want to just say, hey, I wear these cool monk's robes? Wear monk's robes, all right? Like, you don't have to, do you want to say, hey, I know a lot about X, Y, and Z? Sure. Like, you're welcome. All of these things.
But you just can't say, I would not allow you to say, I'm a cultist, undead, fun druid who can do flurry of blows.
Yeah.
Like, that doesn't make any sense unless again, in High Point, you did the proficiency and you said I spent years learning it. There are ways that you could, but you can't just say, I want to be all these things and not a monk, but I want to say I was a monk so I can get this one thing. Like, that's multiclassing.
Mm-hmm.
But that's a
and if you want to multi-class, go ahead.
Exactly. But there's nothing wrong with saying that my druid spent time in a monastery. You know what I mean? There's nothing that says that my sorcerer was being, trained to be a paladin and they called him a heretic because they found out he could do magic. And so they kicked him out and he became a sorcerer.
Sure.
There's nothing that says the warlock couldn't have tried to be a thief and failed miserably and always got caught. So they asked an ancient deity or an ancient creature for power to steal, and they became a warlock instead. None of these things are a problem. Big old moth.
Keep it away from the Fabrifolk.
But yeah, so thank you for that question. I think it's absolutely viable to do that. I think the thing is you just have to differentiate the concept of what is a class, what's a background, and what is an experience. Because you can say I was a noble background, meaning you were raised in a very noble family. You can then say I lived as a monk for a while before I, went off to be the undead druid, right? These are all three different things. What you are as a class, how you lived, and your background are absolutely things that aren't all perfectly set in stone. Just because you're a noble doesn't mean you spent up until your adventuring years stuck in a castle.
Mm-hmm.
It means you could have gone to school. It means you could have been traveling. It means that you could be from a faraway land. It means that you could be of the local nobility. It means that you could be honorary nobility. Maybe you saved a king because you were just a peasant boy and the king started choking and you just happened to know the Heimlich maneuver and you saved his life, so he made you an honorary noble. And all it did was allow you to buy property, right? Like, all of these ways are perfectly good examples of saying why I have the noble background. How you lived is not dictated by your background. Your background is just the circumstances that, you were under in the past.
Sure.
But how you lived and the choices that you made in light of those or in spite of those doesn't matter.
Right.
And that's also just coming down to, is it giving you something? If there's a benefit, then you just have to weigh out, is the benefit asking too much? Or, again, if you want to say I lived around fighters so I know about weapons, that's not asking much. It's just an RP thing. But if you want to say, but I want to be a wizard who can also wield a battle axe, multi-class.
Or pick because there is a sword building.
I'm just saying, like, it's just asking, are you going so far as to say that you are basically multi-classing without multi-classing, or are you just trying to spice up a good lifestyle, like a good life that the NPC could absolutely have lived?
And that goes right back to what I was saying earlier, is it's way more about why you want to do it than what you want to do. It's about your intent. What are you trying to accomplish? What are you trying to get? So, no, I totally love that.
Let's see. Dez ended up turning Soundwave into a Warforged Courtier Battle Master with Steel Defender. Yeah. And the actor feat
Steel Defender
for the mimicry. Okay. I could see that. The actor feat, yeah. Oh yeah, background, not class. My bad. I was just trying to think of, I wasn't even thinking like a good background for. I don't know why I went class, but yeah, background. That's a hard one. I'd have to look up Soundwave. I just don't know enough about like his personality to know like what kind of a.
He from what I remember from the most recent movie, he was very flamboyant, so like entertainer, lightweight.
Oh, okay.
Because he would like talk, he would be like very in your face. He was.
I mean, that could easily be like noble, just very cocky.
Sure.
Nothing can touch your kind. Okay. Let's see. Let's see. Oh, he's the one with the minion bird. Interesting. Yeah, I gotta go back and actually like freshen up on that kind of stuff. I want a monk like Vow of Silence type, not just a fury type. Yeah.
That's chill.
That would be interesting. See, that just makes me miss old school RP of like first and second edition, because that just makes me want to do like, imagine having a monk but not telling anybody that you multi-classed, because with XP it was kind of hard to tell what was going on with people. So imagine having this monk multi-classed, but you have this like monk that you play that he took a Vow of Silence, right?
Okay.
So he just never speaks the entire game, but you're multi-classing and no one knows it until after maybe about like level 7. You're like, you're really not progressing as fast as a monk. But imagine that what no one else knows is you're multi-classing as a wizard or a sorcerer. You have the Vow of Silence, and you'll only break that when you finally need to cast like a major spell.
Interesting.
So that's how it kind of used to be, is people would make a character like that where it would just be like, you don't know who I am, but when I speak, it will finally be revealed of like why I don't. And that would be, I kind of miss that, but you can't do that for the edition.
Could you have a mute wizard?
You could, because there's technically.
But they would be restricted on like everything that requires a verbal component. You'd just be like, suck, you can't cast.
Yes, there's enough spells that technically you can get around it, or just get a wand of it. You can always give them a wand for that kind of stuff. But yes, you could technically have that one. Oh yeah, so the denture lock. It's the Dampier. It was about a biting. So the Dampier, bite with a natural weapon. Kensai monk. Kensai weapon turns into teeth. Right. Yes. So you're a Dampier with a natural bite weapon. You're a Kensai monk, which turns your bite into a natural weapon. You have Pact of the Blade Warlock with packed teeth, so your weapon is also your packed weapon, as well as your natural weapon. And you have the Artificer background, so you infuse your teeth with the Artificer ability. And so basically, you just literally bite them, but they can't do shit. Because you have the Kensai, the Pact of the Blade, and you have an Artificer infused. So you're doing massive amounts of damage, but I'm pretty sure it's the Kensai weapon that stuns them. So
interesting. I gotta look into that.
I'm pretty sure you bite them, Kensai stuns them, everything does damage, and then the damn.
Well, I will say, just as a monk in general, you have Stunning Strike, so you could just use Stunning Strike to
and then on top of that. But yeah, I'm pretty sure that's why all of those are there. Is the Dampier heals you and gives you the bite. Everything else turns it into the perfect weapon that does extra damage. So you're basically just stunning them, damaging them, and healing yourself. Back in, like just
in a cycle.
Yeah.
Wild, absolutely wild.
That's the one background. What's one background? I'm not sure what that was in reference to. Okay, so you posted the full denture lock on Reddit post. Yes, that was it. Thank you for reposting that one. But yeah, that's.
Wait, they posted the full denture? Oh, this is just a build, not a review. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, that would be interesting to review that one.
Right?
Wait, we have a this or that. Okay, being okay with people dressed in Star Wars attire at Ren Fair, or personally getting to throw out people wearing Star Wars attire at Ren Fair. This or that. Do you approve of Star Wars attire at Ren Fair, or would you be the person throwing them out? So to me, I'll tell you this. I am torn because I understand what the vibe and what the general premise of the Ren Fair is, which is just very open and vibey. But to be fair, I get unreasonably, and I mean like I walk away unreasonably irritated at SEA or Ren Fair when I see someone dressed as Link, because it happens every fucking year. I'll go to the Scottish Games, I go to Ren Fair, I go to SEA events, and there's always a motherfucker head to toe, bright ass pink Link, green, bright ass green,
okay,
and dressed as Link, and I'm just like, so because to me it's not. I don't know. To me, it's just one of those things of like, it's not in good taste. It's you're there to almost make fun of everybody.
I'll say this,
and that's just my vibe, is because it's like it's not a cosplay. People are trying to like be serious.
They're trying to troll.
Yes, it feels like it's a troll and be like, haha, look what this is.
And that is exactly why this is my answer. If you have brought a weapon with you, blaster, lightsaber, anything of that nature, or if you're dressed up like stormtroopers
and like Darth Vader, like really
those, that's where I draw the line. If you're dressed up like a Jedi and you're just wearing the robes, live your life. If you're dressed up,
that's close enough, right? There's a link.
Even if you're dressed up like you're from Tatooine or something like that, live your life. If you're dressed up like Uncle Ben, live your life. But if you're out here trying to insert, like if it's like subtle, if it's like a deep cut, if it's like if you know type deal.
That's one thing, But
outside of that,
when it's obvious that when you're not there to be part of the actual event, you know what I mean? When you're obviously there to stand out in not a positive way. What I mean? Like if you were to go, like, okay, here's the difference. I think that dressing up as Link at Ren Fair or any of these places is a troll, 100%. Dressing up like, say, someone from Lord of the Rings would be less so.
Sure, very much so.
And I feel
very much so.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like there is a distinctive difference between the type of attention you're trying to seek versus the type of attention that you're trying to engage with, right? If you're just going all out with a fantasy build like someone like Gandalf, but it's at a very high fantasy Ren Fair thing, and those two things like match well, like you said, I'm all for it. You want to be if you want to have some tall dude as Gandalf and have his friends that are shorter be hobbits, I'm going to be a little bit irritated, but as long as it's in good fun. But like the Link thing, or there's like, the Stormtrooper thing, and I've seen other people they go one step too far, and then you can just tell by their attitude and their vibe, they're not there to vibe with everybody. They're there to basically be a spectacle. Sure. That's where, for me, if you're there to be a spectacle, I'm on team throw you out. Because look, there are Comic-Cons, there are Star Wars events, there's plenty of other places for that specific engagement. But the fact that you came somewhere that has a specific thing, has a specific idea, and you're using this as an excuse to have your fandom outlet because you don't have somewhere else to go, is not fair to those that came for this fandom. Because to be completely honest, do you want people showing up as Kermit the Frog at your Star Wars event? Do you want to see 30 people walk in as the Muppets, acting like the Muppets, and interacting like the Muppets? Like, do you want the Muppets to surround Yoda and act like it's one of them and be like, oh, what are you? Where are you from? Like, do you really want Kermit sitting there freaking out over Yoda, acting like, oh my God, are you one of me? Like, it's stupid. You would literally be upset if someone came in and ruined your fandom like that. And that's where I'm just like, there are places for conglomerations of fandoms, right? There's anime conventions, there's comic book conventions, there's video game conventions. Everything has their own convention, and I know not everybody can make it to all of those, but that's no excuse for you to go to someone else's and mock or make fun or call yourself out as a spectacle when you're not even within their own position, right? Sure. Like, again, if you wanted, like, I wouldn't mind if you wanted to dress up as the Black Knight from Monty Python and go to Ren Fair. But if you're gonna run around acting like the Knight from Monty Python, I'm gonna kick you out. Like, that's where I draw the line. Like, it's one thing to be subtle and just be like, hey, that's cool, that was your only outfit, but it's still a knight, it's still the vibe. But if you're running around big, if you come in without the arm, and you're just like, oh, it's the flesh wound. I'm gonna be like, dude, that's go to your midnight showing and then go do that. But it's time and place.
Sure.
And that's just my thing is when it comes to fandoms, I think that we should be a little bit more protective, not gatekeeping, but protective is because these are people's opportunity to express themselves and to feel comfortable doing so. And when you go there and take that away from them, it's less likely for them to be able to enjoy their situation. It's same thing that happens in D&D when everyone says, "Oh, I'm, they have all these like elaborate stories and they're getting into character." And then you have that one guy who just wants to make the joke character and make a mockery of everything that's happening at the table. No one has fun. You know what I mean? Like, no one wants to have that joke character who's literally fourth wall breaking and acting like the game doesn't matter when everyone's having these rich backstories and elaborate, role-playing opportunities, and you're just sitting there making fart jokes because none of it matters to you. Like, sure. That's how I feel, is like you're diminishing someone's opportunity to express themselves and to get into the thing that they love. And that's why it's like, there's a fine line, but there is a line to cross.
Sure.
So yeah, so that specific example, Stormtroopers would absolutely be too much for me. But like Monty Python's, Black Knight, it depends on how you're acting at that point.
Sure.
Hopefully that answers that.
Okay.
So where were you at? Which?
I told you where I was at. I was like I said, if you're dressed,
so you're just cool as if you're chill. But if you cross a line,
no, it was just like if you bring a weapon, like lightsaber, blaster, anything technologically based,
okay,
or if you're dressed like a stormtrooper, no, thank you. But
if you're on the side of as long as it's not too theme breaking. As long as it's there, but not.
If somebody took a still picture, would it be like Game of Where's Waldo, or would it be look at that guy, look at that guy,
okay,
look at that guy?
Fair point.
You know what I mean?
Fair point.
Like that's how I feel.
Okay, I like that. I like that one. Is just don't break immersion. Just be there.
Like if I'm walking around and I don't notice you, but then I take a second take and I'm like, oh my gosh, that dude's wearing Jedi robes. That's fire. Like I'm here for it. Like that sounds fun to me. But if you're just like, I want to make everyone look at me and pay attention to me and think I'm the coolest thing here in the room because I'm wearing a Darth Vader cape and a helmet.
Yeah.
Suck it, bro. Like, for real.
That irritates me. Neon talks about a monk background, something more like a monastery background, so you don't have to just do religious background stuff.
Sure.
I like that. I like more of a spiritual monastery type background. That's pretty cool. Let's see. What else? Cart says they would throw them out.
Cart says you all suck.
Looks more like a goblin. All right. Well, that is back from ads. Let's see. The denture lock is stupid. Yeah, the denture lock is very stupid, but it works. You know what I mean? Sometimes. So cosplaying at Ren Fair being better than not dressing up at all. Again, as long as it's not terribly immersion breaking.
You know, I even think not dressing up at all would be much preferred to screwing everybody to being there like in a Deadpool costume. Yes. You know what I'm saying? Like, I would much rather you show up in street clothes because from my perspective, somebody showing up in street clothes is trying to expand. Like, maybe they don't feel comfortable showing up dressed up, even though that's what everybody else is doing.
Not everybody
right?
Can.
But they still want to come and experience the thing. Like, I'm not mad at you for wanting to come and explore, right? But if you're coming here for the express purposes of being a troll, like if you're wearing like a Star Trek outfit or some shit like that at a Ren Fair, I'm like, Negro, why are you here? For real.
So, Soul got your comment about dressing up as Uncle Ben. He just wants to know how do you dress up as a pile of ash?
Clearly you just have the Spider-Man outfit with an urn, you know. Clearly that's how that works, right? That's how that works, right? Just have somebody carry you around. It's fine.
Fucking Spider. The fucking full circle from that, like that.
That visual. I don't want you want from me.
I'm thinking, because I'm just sitting there fully engrossed in the scene where Darth Vader takes out Ben Kenobi and he's just, you know, a pile of the robes, and that's what I'm thinking of. Is then I'm going back to, like, you know, the cloth kid or the fabric kid.
You said Uncle Ben, my head
exactly, but then you went Spider-Man, and then my brain exploded like, oh my god. Oh, too soon.
So sorry.
Oh man,
so sorry. Sorry, not sorry.
All right. Let's go. Let's see. Well, we're losing people, and it's getting kind of late. So let me speed through some of these comments here. See what else we have. People talking to each other.
We love that.
Consider going as your D&D character to a Ren Fair. I mean, most people probably wouldn't even like notice, but I mean, if it is from Ben 10, maybe. Depends on how you pull that off.
Yeah, people got some weird D&D characters, man.
Okay, what is this? So let's see. It's my oh, that would be interesting. Like, make an area, you know, like for, you know, if you're gonna do like a Ren Fair or something, like, you know, even do like themed days where people can be a little bit more out of bounds with it.
Okay, that would be cool.
And that's a different perspective too. People who don't even try or are not interested at all, like they're Ren Fair people, but they're almost not to the people who are just uncomfortable at dressing up, but people that think it's like childish and like I would never. I'm better than that. And I have seen those people because
then why are you here?
But well, they like the it's almost like they don't mind the actors doing it, but they look down on anybody else who does it without getting paid. You know what I mean? Like they'll go there and they like the vendors, they like the shops, they like the vibe. But they look down on the people actually having fun and getting into it, and literally look at you like you're stupid and childish and like you're not having, you know, you're not doing the right thing because these people are being paid to dress up, and that's why I give them my money. But you're just here dressed up for what? For fun? And it's like, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Listen,
like,
if you don't know how to have fun anymore,
to be you.
Sucks to suck.
Like, I'm sorry,
but,
it sucks to be you if you think going there and looking down on everybody
I'm gonna live my life, bro. And see, this is why my mentality is be unbothered, because people are gonna be like what they're gonna be, like what they're gonna be. People are gonna treat you some type of way regardless. It's like, listen, I live my life, you live yours. If you wanna live it in this whole mentality of just I'm better than you because I don't do those things, then
yeah. And see, this is
good for freaking you, bro.
This right here is totally an example of both. In my opinion, both a good example of how it can be healthy, but also, in my opinion, just what irks me about the concept, right? Is like Ren Fairs having different themes. And I have heard about this where like they'll do like a pirate day.
Sure.
Sounds pretty cool.
Does.
And I think that's fine. And I don't necessarily think that what I'm about to say that Neon said in chat is wrong, but it would still irritate me. Going there on a pirate day, I mean, I'm an SCA pirate. I will go fucking decked out in my pirate gear. But then if I go there and all I see is a bunch of Luffy's from One Piece, like, that is just like, again, that is just like you heard pirate and you don't care about the actual event. All you said is, I want to...
It's technically a pirate, though.
Yeah, and this is what I mean by it's like, it's this idea that just because it's related to the thing I like, I'm going to... I'm going to push my, you know, my thing into this, right? And that's where it's just kind of like, it's just not great. Now, I'm sure it's great for the Ren Fair. I'm sure more people show up by doing that. And I get it, you know, that's why they do the theme days, so they can kind of get those people, you know, in on those days. But at the same time, it's just like what? This isn't Comic-Con. Like, why are you going the most ridiculous, comical way to do it when that's not the vibe here? You know what I mean?
Let me ask you this.
You're about to watch two people joust.
Same thing, but you see 10 Jack Sparrows.
I'd feel the same way. One Jack Sparrow, okay, cool, dude. Like, I get it. You know, it's very common Hollywood pirate, but like the whole crew and everything.
Well, I don't mean like they're all from the same, like each person came individually.
No, but like I don't mind, like I get it. It's that whole thing of just like, if that's it, it's just kind of like, that's not I would still feel the same way. You know what I mean? Like, yes, it's better, but again, it would also come down to, are they just dressed like it, or are they all acting like it?
Yeah, they're all rolling around.
Because that would mean, like, if I walked in and heard 5 Jack Sparrow lines within 10 feet, I would just be like, I'm done. This is done. But if people are just walking around and that's how they chose to dress up, like you said, you know what? Like, if I couldn't tell in a photo, sure, more power to you. But it just depends on how far you take it and how bad it gets. I mean, again, you could do if you didn't do a Lord of the Rings day, but you go there and the entire day is filled with just Lord of the Rings characters, it doesn't feel like a Ren Fair. It feels like a Lord of the Rings game. And
sure.
If that's not my fandom, that's going to deteriorate the reason I went there. You know what I mean? Like, sure. I went there for Ren Fair, not for Lord of the Rings. And that's where it's just like, I don't know. I'm not saying I'm right here. I just have a feeling that if you're going to go do something, you should be more mindful about the overall audience and like direction that was, the intended direction, instead of just what you're there to get at.
Yeah, it's hard for me because, like, live your life, go have fun. But even going back to what we were saying earlier, it's more about why you're doing it than what you're doing. If you're there to be disruptive versus there to actually enjoy the experience of being there, like, I can see a Jack Sparrow showing up and like, hey, I'm really excited to be here. This is really the only pirate thing that I know. Yeah. And so I really want to be a part of this. I really want to feel like I'm one of the people.
Again, if they're there for the Ren Fair but look like Jack Sparrow, that's one thing. If they're there to be Jack Sparrow and get everyone's attention, like we talked about,
sure,
that's where I would draw the line.
Now, you know what's weird?
That's totally innocent.
I see that exact same mentality at Comic-Cons with Deadpool specifically. People love being Deadpool at Comic-Con. They love running around doing stupid stuff,
they want to be messing with people. They want to go viral. They want to have that moment where people take a picture with them.
I get it, because a lot of people will have fun with that. Like, a lot of other people that aren't Deadpool will have fun with those Deadpools. They'll enjoy that experience, and that's great. And I love that that's there. I feel like there is a tasteful way to do that. There is an appropriate way to do that, but it can easily go overboard. It can easily turn into something that you really don't want it to be. Yeah. And so there's definitely a semi-fine line that you can approach by acting a little ornery with stuff like that.
I mean, I'll even say this, because being mentioned, like, the idea of like the Spider-Man, situation, right? Like, going to Ren Fair and Spider-Man would be kind of ridiculous. But there's also one, like, very small caveat, right? That I could accept. It would still irritate me, but I wouldn't get the immediate get the fuck out, right? If you wanted to do something like that, be Spider-Man, be Batman, be Deadpool, but you did it in such a way that was like showing true effort to manipulate. Like, if someone came to Ren Fair as a 1600s version of Batman, like, the cape was actually like a cloak.
Mm-hmm.
The mask was more like, not like the rubber mask that we see today, but like, if it looked like Batman but existed in the time of...
Imagine if you had like a medieval helmet with little bat ears on it.
That's what I'm talking. Like, if you had a knight walking around with the Batman helmet, but it was obviously a knight in every possible way,
and a little Batman symbol across the metal
vest, it was just being a knight.
Hammered out.
It was still doing the Ren Fair stuff, but it was Batman in knight form.
Would he carry a sword is the question.
And that's what I'm saying. Like,
would he carry
in that situation, I would be less mad because the effort was put in to match the vibe.
Sure.
I would not necessarily be happy, but my first knee-jerk reaction wouldn't be get out. If someone came in Spider-Man, the classic red, black, and blue, the red, blue, black,
mm-hmm.
but it was done in a robe-y kind of way, done in a way that looks like you belong in the time frame, but you're obviously being Spider-Man, I could forgive it, right? Like, there are certain characters I could be like, I see what you're going for, but thank you for the effort of not like you're the modern version of it. Again, like, I could easily see a medieval Batman. I could let that go.
Sure.
I wouldn't like it. But you know what? Like Neon said, the cosplay at Ren Fair is fine. It's what you do with the character is the problem.
Interesting.
If you try to meld it, I'm cool with it.
What would happen if somebody showed up to a Ren Fair dressed like a ninja?
I think most people would just roll their eyes. But again, different time and place. But but I've seen samurai at Ren Fair, and it totally makes sense, especially if they're in the era appropriate.
Sure.
So stuff like that doesn't bother me as long as, again, like someone walking in as like a Ronin or in full samurai outfit would be a little bit showy, but hey, there's knights in armor.
Sure.
If you come with like Ninja Buddy outfit where you're in like skin tight, all black, red band, like basically if you come dressed like the Foot from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, I'm gonna roll my eyes and be like, what are you doing?
You ever seen Ninja Assassin?
Yeah, something like that. A little bit better. Like again, as long as you put the effort into making it look like, regardless of what you are, you look like you belong. Again, you could be Batman in armor or not, but you can
I feel
still
like that goes back to the Where's Waldo photo.
Yes, if you wouldn't immediately go, holy shit, what's Batman doing there? But if you're looking at it like, that looks really cool, like, is that Batman in armor? Like, that is a fine reaction. But if you're just like, what the fuck is Batman doing? Like, why is there Batman, Spider-Man, Superman, running around in tights?
Sure.
That's not what I want to see. But yeah, if the effort was put in to say, look, I'm a cosplayer, I don't do this reality stuff, but I want to take my fandom into your fandom,
sure.
I would be much more comfortable being like, hey, thanks for the attempt. Like, you're not breaking my immersion that hard. But again, like, if all you have is like a Link costume and you come somewhat dressed like Link, like you have the colors, you have the sword, but you made a little bit of a modification just to look like a regular dude, and you just can't help it, like, yeah, it's a Link costume,
sure.
I'll ignore it. But when you come with the fucking floppy hat and the boots and
like, the trigram shield on your back and shit,
it's like, fuck, this isn't Comic-Con. Okay? I hope that answers all of the variables of that question.
Wild.
Yeah, ye old Batman would have... I don't know if ye old Batman would have a sword. I think he actually has an axe, because there is a medieval Batman comic where they actually went back.
The only reason I asked the sword question, because he says he doesn't kill. Like, would it be like a billy club, or would it be a bladed weapon that he can like stab somebody with?
Honestly, medieval Batman would probably carry a staff, like a walking stick staff. Like, honestly, medieval Batman would probably be.
I can see that.
He could use it off his horse. He could use it off a carriage. He could use it on foot. It would be a tool. Honestly, medieval Batman would probably have a slightly longer walking stick too, like even longer than a quarterstaff, because he'd probably end up using it like some of the mountain climbers do, where he could jump off a tall like thing and then use it to like break his fall.
Especially because he's Batman, even in medieval times, I would expect him to have some sort of like telescoping things where it could like compact and like open up and stuff like that,
or at least it's like detached, and then he has like two like.
There you go.
Yeah. So I could see all that.
Wild.
You hear pirate, you think Captain Jack Sparrow. I mean, I think that's what most people do nowadays. Let's see. All right, take it easy, Neon, if you're still here. Appreciate you showing up and hanging out. Thank you for all the questions. Appreciate you following us, and we will see you soon. We'll be back on Friday. Sub-Zero or Scorpion at Ren Fair. I mean, if you go with like their before death or their pre-forms where they didn't have the masks, you could probably get away with it. You'd be a little bit oddly color-coded, but you'd stand out probably a little bit too much. But again, you can do modifications to make it fit a little bit better. Samurai Batman carries a sword. Honestly, Samurai Batman probably carries a reverse blade. He'd rather break bones than kill you, so he just carries a reverse blade, like Kenshin.
Actually, yeah.
Because then at that point, he can wail on you all he wants. He's still protected in a sword fight, but he doesn't care if he slaps you across the nose. You'll live. You may not breathe correctly ever again, but you'll live. I'll break your hand, but guess what? You have another hand to write with.
Sucks to suck.
So yeah, I could see Samurai Batman having a reverse blade, or add insult to injury, Samurai Batman only carries kendo sticks.
Wild.
Not a boken, not a full-on hardwood boken, actual kendo sticks, because just the pure insultingness of that clack against someone,
dude,
you're like shing 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 clack against your face.
Are you talking about the shinai, the ones with like the banded ones?
Yeah. That would be just because like you have the boken, which would be like the solid wood, but can you just imagine him just with like, just the shinai of just clack clack clack, and you're just like, come on, hit me. It's like that scene in what was that movie? Walking Tiger, Hidden Dragon, where he was like fighting the chick who stole the sword, and he's just using like a bamboo reed. So he's trying to kill him, and he's just like block, 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 slap in the face, block, 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 slap in the face. But like, you can't. That's my sword, bitch. Like, that is my sword. I train with that every day. You can't beat me with it. Slap, 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 slap. I'm just like, those are the kind of moments.
You wild for that, bro.
Yeah, I like those moments where it's just like I don't have to overpower you. I can just humiliate you to the point where you'll make a mistake. 2 weeks, you're very excited to see the input on your Flesh Smith. Yes, we will see how we feel about that. I'm curious how that's gonna go. That sounds fascinating.
Yeah, I mean, it almost sounds like didn't we have a Chimera build not too long ago, where you're like piecemealing different like body parts or whatever. Oh, no, that was the Druid specifically.
Yeah, this will be interesting. Like because I mean, this one could be anything from like you're making like flesh golems. It's a smith, right? So it's like you're making flesh golems, or maybe you're more like a battle surgeon, like you're a chirurgeon, so you're actually like putting people back together. It could be like a Frankenstein situation.
Yeah.
So yeah, don't know where we're happening, man. Discord's lighting up too. We got things, memes, we got things and submissions.
We out here blowing up. Absolutely love it.
New rock, paper, scissors just dropped. K9 bites cow. Deputy tases K9. Cow kicks deputy. Yep.
God bless America.
Sounds about right. Ooh, and we got the we got some of the artwork for the mushroom folk.
Ooh, do we?
Yes, that
I'll
was
take a gander at that
just now. Let me update their nickname.
Oh, look at that. That looks sick.
Yo, yeah, those are awesome.
That looks sick.
So if you're part of the Discord, go check out D&D, or the D&D artwork channel, because Leon just posted some awesome stuff.
Heck yes.
Let's go check that out. All right, well, I think that's going to bring us to the end of our stream. I think we've covered most of the topics. Most of the questions are pretty chilled out at this point. Oh, it is along the lines of Frankenstein. Ooh, okay. Yeah, yeah, see, Barber Surgeon, especially because back in the day, you know, the Barber Surgeon was the same one and the same. I would love to see, I mean, we did the Battlesmith, like, that was a really cool one. But I would love to see more backgrounds and even classes as like a Barber Surgeon. You know, someone who, like, a different type of medic altogether. Basically, like,
interesting.
Basically a non-magical medic. You know what I mean? You could full on make this a non-magical medic.
I could totally see that. I actually like that a lot. Would they be able to do things like work on Warforged?
Maybe. Possibly.
I mean, there is such thing as a flesh golem.
Yeah, absolutely. Someone wants to know when their submission is coming up next. They can't remember if they submitted anything after their druid.
Soul. Looks like I do not have anything else for you in here. I will check the channel. Like I said, I need to do some clearing out.
Yep.
When the thing gets too full, it's hard for me to remember like what I have done and what I haven't done. So anything that's already been reviewed, I'm gonna chop in the submissions channel. Not like you guys can see any of that stuff anyways, but it'll just help me out. But yeah, so yeah, send me whatever you got in Noob Soul, and we'll get you going, put you back on the in the rotation. We got Cart back in there. We got Neverending Codex in there for the first time. Hecate and Super Fox are coming up after that. So
maybe we'll get something from Neon soon.
Yeah,
once those mushrooms. I'm really curious how the mycelium thing works. I think that's a really cool concept.
That is super sick.
It just gives me like psionic vibes, you know, just like a little like temporary hive mind kind of thing. All right, well, I think that's going to be it for us for today. We haven't figured out what we're going to do Friday. I think we're going to take a break from OSR just because I want to get some stuff done in the background before we try to tackle it again.
Sure.
So, I don't know, maybe since we're most likely, let me double check Discord one more time. I'm pretty sure we are going to be doing pop culture build. So we can't do that on Thursday. So either we could do a sublet and subclass on Friday, or Maybe we could just do like a chill stream again, just like more of a hangout. I don't know.
I mean, I don't know how much you like this series, but we haven't done like an image to item or anything like that in a while.
We
can always try that.
Image to item.
Those are kind of what I would call easy, more gentle. We usually get to 2 or 3 of them per stream. So
yeah, we haven't done an image to item in a minute.
And we still got some in.
I think we do.
Some images that we can play with.
Yeah, looking through we do have, I think, a handful of images that we haven't done yet. That would be kind of fun. Maybe we'll do an image to item. It's been a minute since we've done that. All right, so plan for that, and then this Saturday. Don't forget this Saturday.
Cosmic, I expect you to be there. You're out here voting for new ones. I want to see you show up.
This Saturday, the 27th, we will be live most of the day, and we will most likely. Oh yeah, I was gonna check where the.
What time are you trying to start that?
Most likely, usually between 11 and noon Pacific Standard Time.
Okay.
6 votes. 5 for pop culture builds.
God bless America.
So pop culture builds it will be. I will let you all know by the end of the week which one.
Here's what I don't understand. Well, maybe it's just because we only had one. I don't know. We had all those votes for the last one, and now, although everybody who voted for things that are no longer on the list are probably voting for something specific. So
yeah,
I guess that's fair.
It went from what 3? It went from 9 choices to 3. So. You know, and multiple.
Maybe it's the paralyzation of choice. Like so many things, I don't know what to vote for. 3 things. All right, I'm voting for that.
Exactly. Well, and that's kind of why I like doing it like this. That's why I like having multiple series and then being able to like build upon them. Are we gonna get a bonus video of either? I have not even looked at K-pop Demon Slayer and probably won't. So, no.
Listen. I enjoy it. For me, it's modern day. Old school Disney movies. Like if you look at like The Lion King and Beauty and the Beast, like the amount of music and songs that they have in there, that's exactly what this is. But it's done in the art style of what was that Spider-Man movie, Into the Spider-Verse? It's basically Into the Spider-Verse vibes.
Right.
With
that's not terrible.
But the people in the show are actually musicians. So like they're not. It's not like I'm just singing just to sing.
Or just dubbed over. They're actual like real performers.
Yes, yeah, like so they're actually on stage and stuff. So I enjoy it. It's cool. It's cute. But again, the first time I watched it was with my 6 nieces and nephews, and I couldn't hear the movie because they were singing every single song because they had already seen it 20 times. So whatever, it'd be like that.
V-Human entertainer background swords bard. That would be the demon hunter.
Mm-hmm.
Well, see, so Des, there you go. You've already written it up for us. Why don't you make one?
Do it.
All right, but yeah, so we'll figure out what pop culture build we'll do. I will look through the list of what y'all have submitted. So if you come up with anything by this weekend, make sure to drop it in the community ideas channel under the pop culture builds thread. If you have any new ideas that you want me to consider before the end of the week. Otherwise, I will either randomly select one, or if I just get inspiration and come up with just like when I did with Johnny 5, where I just come up with one I just want to do. But yeah, go ahead and post any other ideas that you have, and then we will take a look at those. Otherwise, I think that we are going to cut it for today. Thank you so much for joining us. We will be back on Friday with more D&D content, back on Saturday with your community stream. And yeah, we'll be back next Monday with more reviews. So if that sounds fun, join us. Don't forget to follow us on Discord. Don't forget to follow us on all major social medias. We post every single day on TikTok. We have the dice profiler on TikTok as well. So if you're looking for some new dice with some personality profiles, we have like 30 sets on the website right now.
Heck yes.
So yeah, go check out our new merch. We're just trying to kick that off. Let me know what kind of dice y'all want to see, and I will go pick up some more. If there's a particular type of dice that you want a personality rolled for, let me know and I will try to go and get it. I don't know what else to do at this point to kick off without buying actual like advertising. I don't know what else I can do right now to kick off the dice profiler other than
sure.
I just kind of a
yeah. I never know when it comes to stuff like that. How you know, unless you're like, because a lot of the times it's like you're on the ground, feet to the ground, you know, like you're talking to people about it, you know, like,
yeah,
but
this is just,
you know, this is all social media type stuff. So,
well, and I think too, it's like there's a lot of dice creators, like people who actually make physical dice out there, and I'm sure they do really well with business, but I also have a feeling that a lot of that is just it's great visual content on TikTok, right? You know, you're scrolling, all of a sudden you see these cool dice coming out of a mold, you're hearing it, you're listening. But how often is that really, like, how often are viewers turn into buyers in that sense, right? Whereas with my stuff, it's more like I don't have much visual appeal, but if you like the concept, you'll buy. So I'm in that weird sense of like, I don't want to create good content for TikTok because that won't necessarily translate into views, right? It's not meant to be entertaining, it's meant to be a shop. So I'm trying to blend that era of like, get a good enough short out there that will get into the algorithm, but not be there for pure entertainment value.
Right.
Why not get some seasonal holiday? Ooh.
Like Halloween, Christmas? Interesting.
So you may have something there.
It's why we have a community, y'all. That's what I'm talking about.
I like that idea. Favorite dice. Okay. I'm going to look into that. Thank you so much for that idea. But we're going to call it there. So thank you all so much for joining us. I hope you guys have a great rest of your week. I hope you had a fantastic weekend. And we will be back on Friday. I am going to try to do some game streams this week. So I'll hop on one of these days to play some games on Twitch. And I will also be trying to go live on TikTok at some point this week with another just kind of like a DM AMA where I can just, I'll just choose a couple topics and just kind of hang on stream for people to ask questions. But I'll also probably do a dual stream on Twitch. So if you see me live, come say hi. Otherwise, thank you all so much for joining us, and we will see you Friday. Cheers.
Deuces, my friends.